A very good evening to you. Welcome to the news at 11. My name is Evan Sunokugi. Edo State Governor Senator Mother Bello has alleged that the recent surge in insecurity, particularly kidnapping across the country, is being fueled by opposition elements seeking political advantage ahead of the future elections. The governor made the allegations in Benin City during the flag-off of the All Progressives Congress Edo South Senatorial District campaign for the forthcoming local government council elections in the state. The report by Emmanuel Chegwe is presented by Ikmo Musa Ugiagbe.
The All Progressive Congress in Edo State has officially commenced its campaign activities for the upcoming local government elections with a rally held at Urukpota, Benin City. At the event, the state chairman of the party, Jared Tenebe, presented the APC chairmanship and councillorship candidates from Edo South Senatorial District to party supporters and residents.
All these are the people you will vote for on that day of the election, and their councillors in their various local government. Are you going to vote for them? By the grace of God, because of the good work the governor is doing, victory is already yours.
Governor Monday Okpebholo used the occasion to address the growing security concerns across the nation, particularly the increasing cases of kidnapping across the country. The governor accused opposition parties of being responsible for the growing insecurity.
Those people that are seeking for power, let them stop disturbing our president. Let them stop kidnapping. Kidnapping cannot give them villa. Kidnapping cannot give them government house. Kidnapping cannot give them House of Assembly. It cannot even give them Senate. Not even House of Rep. So by the grace of God, Edo State is settled. I want to thank you once more for coming out in mass to support your children, to support your brothers, to support your friends. They say it's Karego.
High point was the official unveiling of the Edo South senatorial candidates of the party by the governor, who include Engineer Ogbede Ihama as the senatorial candidate, Dr. Padi Iyamu, Oedo Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Omosede Igbinedion of Via Federal Constituency, amongst others. Ikmo Musa Ugiagbe, ITV News.
The State Police Command has arrested 4 suspects over involvement in the purchase and webbing of the alleged Beretta pistol, which led to the killing of Ogene Neme Ogidi in Efuru, Uvia local government area. Warri correspondent Menga Ahmed reports.
Parading the suspect before newsmen at the Delta State Police Command headquarters in Asaba, the Commissioner of Police, Yemi Oyeniyi, said the arrest of the suspect was made possible following intelligence efforts of the tactical operations of the command. CP Oyeniyi did not give details on the fate of the officers and his accomplice, who shot and killed Ogedemina Ogidi, who were awaiting trial at Ogwashuku prison, while the owners of the gun that led to the killing of the victims admitted the gun.
The first suspect, Emmanuel Chukwuemeka, was arrested in Bayelsa on the 4th of May 2026 alongside his friend and roommate, whose phone he used as a means of communication to purchase the gun. Emmanuel revealed that he bought the gun from one Amadi Princeway for the sum of 290,000 naira and sold the gun to one Desmond. Desmond is still at large for the sum of 380,000 naira.
Some of the suspects narrated their involvement in the crime.
I sold the gun to Desmond because he told me he needed it for security reasons. After that, he came to my house unannounced, telling me that the police were looking for him. So I told him to leave the house, that it was not a good place for him at that particular time, when we found out online that Ogedemina got shot by the police.
Recall that late Ogedemina Ogidi, who was shot and killed by former police officer Nuhu Usman, attached to Uwie Area Command after discovering a pistol in the waybill in his custody. Despite plea by the late victim to take the police officer to the owner of the pistol. From Asaba, Benga Ahmed, ITV News.
Away from that, now Independent Television and Radio on Tuesday organized a capacity building workshop for management and staff as part of efforts to strengthen operational efficiency, leadership capability, and organizational growth. The training held at the corporate headquarters of ITV and Radio Glasshouse in Benin City brought together management staff, sub-managers, and selected staff. Joy Obaisagba reports that the renowned strategy and productivity leader, Dr. Sam Ikoku, delivered a top-notch lecture.
Speaking at the event, the Managing Director of Independent Television and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, said the workshop was designed to enhance leadership skills and improve capacity at the sub-management level. He noted that empowering managers and sub-managers would foster greater responsibility, accountability, and a stronger sense of ownership in the day-to-day administration of the organization.
There's always been a managerial intent to begin to bring those of you at the sub-level and those of you at the unit level to begin to feel and have a sense of leading an organization like ITV.
The resource person at the training and Chief Executive Officer of Nakachi Consulting, Dr. Sam Ikoku, emphasized the importance of adopting a solution-driven mindset in the workplace. According to him, organizations achieve sustainable success when employees focus on solving problems rather than dwelling on challenges.
Flawless execution turns ordinary companies into extraordinary organizations and develops great managers for the benefit of the industry. How can we transform this TV station into what we call social television? That's the future. If you don't know what it is, you have to. Social television is different from television. It's a mix of both, television and social media. It must be designed into the system.
The workshop also featured interactive sections, providing participants from Abuja and Lagos studios the opportunity to ask questions, share experiences, and gain practical insights into effective leadership and organizational management.
Flawless execution is the systematic and disciplined implementation of plans and activities.
I could see myself through your presentation, the things that I've been doing, and then the things that I need to improve on.
In a vote of thanks, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Lady Celerina Ojomo, described the workshop as impactful.
One thing I know all of us have taken away from this day's workshop is the fact that all of us have one job, just one job.
Top management staff present at the training include Executive Director Operations Chief Elder Ogbede Owuwonse, Director of Independent Radio Pastor Dan Omozusi, GM Group Commercial Services Mrs. Odun Balogun, GM Special Duties Abiodun Mudashiru. From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
The Inspector General of Police, Olatunde Dusi, has directed senior officers of the Nigerian Police Force to adopt a more proactive, intelligence-driven and adaptive policing strategies in response to the nation's evolving security challenges. This will give the charge on Tuesday during the monthly conference of strategic senior officers held at the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Peacekeeping Center Force Headquarters in Abuja. The meeting brought together Deputy Inspectors General of Police, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Commissioner of Police, and other senior officers from the various zones and commands to review the country's security situation and assess ongoing policing operations. Addressing the gathering, the IGP identified kidnapping, armed robbery, court-related violence, terrorism, banditry, farmer-herder clashes, and cyber-enabled crimes as a major threats requiring coordinated and sustained responses. He stressed the need for stronger leadership, enhanced intelligence gathering, and improved operational coordination to ensure the force remains ahead of criminal elements and emerging security threats. This directed commissioners of police across the country to deepen community policing efforts and strengthen engagement with traditional rulers, religious leaders, youth groups, market associations, transport unions, and other key stakeholders. And still on the news now, the group stage of ITV Corporate Corp has concluded with action from match day 3 with 2 exciting fixtures that produce 13 goals and lots of excitement for spectators. Osamudia Osage reports that Nigeria Breweries sealed a 4-2 victory against Sterling Bank, while Access Bank defeated Money Points 4-3.
The final day of group games at the ITV Corporate Cup saw fans treated to thrilling encounters as teams battled for places in the knockout stage. In the opening game, Nigeria Breweries secured their first win of the tournament with a convincing 4-2 victory over Sterling Bank. Despite efforts by Sterling Bank to stage a comeback after the break, Nigeria Breweries were resolute defensively to seal the win. The second match delivered more drama as Access Bank and Money Point delivered an end-to-end encounter that kept fans on the edge of their seats with a 7-goal thriller which saw Access Bank triumph 4-3 against Money Point. After the matches, some players described the games as keenly contested while appreciating the organizers for the competition.
First, let me say thank you to the organizers of this competition. Not exactly the results we were expecting, but there was a lot of improvement from our first game.
We did our best. Our first match, we tried, and this one, the performance was okay. I believe by God's grace, the next one will be better.
Well, I think so happy in terms of the performance against our previous one we played. I think there's a lot of improvement, so we also need to work at to put some things together so that we can come out in the next match and win that game.
The semi-final games will see NIFO face 7-up, while Money Point takes on Nigeria Breweries on Wednesday, 10th of June 2026. From Benin, Osamudia Osage, ITV News.
And with the story when the news tonight on Independent Television, my name is Evan Sonohugi. A very good night to you.
ITV, certainly the best.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.
The new Ejong expressed excitement as he danced and rejoiced before the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawori Benedion, who also joined in the dance. As visiting and paying of homage to various homes of senior elders continued, the initiates spent 7 days performing diverse kinds of rites as required by tradition. They were furnished with rules and regulations regarding their new office as Edion.
That I grew up in this community to the point that they have now also chosen me as an elder in this community. It's a thing of great joy. All thanks to the Esama of Benin, my people, my family, everybody, all Okada community for this great honor. I am very, very grateful.
Well, this is my brother. I'll call him my uncle because he grew up with my father. I'm so proud of him because we are doing the same rituals as the Edions of the Okada. It is our duty for us to make this place a greater place, for outsiders to come and see the goodness of God in Okada. And I'm proud of every one of us here. So shall it be to each and every one of us in Jesus' name.
Odion ma Okada zima Esama zima Dion Bona zima Dion Obala zima Dion Marawe Mari Esama Dionena Mimado Pom Esama Mimado Beken Esama Ema Dio Warena Esama Magbekene Osaba Obuyo Bitone Aba no get Tony Maga no diami Magame Manido Bekene Dena Ima Yafe Ima Ato Ima Agmo Arokpa Ewudori Ima Adi Awogene all the Tiagboya no Emi Magame we need just to know me afa
in this summer in our father's house in respect of our initiation to elders Edion level. As tradition demands, we are here today to come and also pay our homage to him, for him to also pray for us for long life and prosperity.
The climax after 7 days was paying of homage again to the Odion way, where he gave the initiates the full rights to function and to henceforth participate in meetings with Edion. It will go down in the history and minds of Okada community, Ovia people, Edo State, and Nigeria in general. The ambience, style, and the colorful ceremony associated with the 2025 initiation into the Edion Council of former Governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakari Igbenedion, his brothers Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawori Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osawuni Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osawuni Igbenedion, Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Gwede Onwonse, Honorable Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Ukponwa Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, as well as Agbong Steve Igbenedion, among other sons of Okada.
ITV, certainly the best.
Wabotao, Edonewa, Edenewa ire, Wabi Negekai, Wabi Daniho. Egere se Maya Dugie, Ibota, Ibotana, Okbe no giswe, Naya Bwedo Ade, or giswe, Naya si Mokoko, Naya si Bekoko, Ayariva Otane, Besori my Duatoka Mama, and when ye ni no kwa Aga Webo, Naya having a Hyae, Vinaya inye. Or Ibota, Ota mai, Ota, Anyowa, Venu Kisema Moe, Venu Yani Kereni Ade, Umoe Ade, Otano. Ota ni Mariari la Dare, no, Kay, no, you know, no, Zuma Lele, Wotedo, a so when ye see no, a so when ye dano, or a way, or Heke no Urio wo boy you to, or a bo. Nana me where be no domana he. A so very a serio where. Ote brefu odo enze unde we awodo nieme eso we o makeke kaka onaze mana wona mulade na ya wibude yo na domiki na he imi no keke iyima na ogun egun eme na okere ma we iyima an atu ni no pa yima eho usioma orewa iyima boke on domo no wa watokbe meto me no wo mu no ade na oye ohen Pastor Kabari erima no we no mo mu we ugina ero wania ona zenara we nigade lido imudi ane even ma gba kan kataba o iwe o wa no ku bo eku no ro wodo bi no do mana he okedi uto odomae okedo befu odomae ni mayi wa hon kike na ni anoye mawe na mo na lade na diai okeyiwe okuna bowa oboyfune owa ni ara aye oye wo wa ni maye no mayi fun ya gbese ana na gwa lo wo be okuna ke lae ona do mi owa ni ebo eri amoye o mi owa ni ebo ona ha modo we mi owa pa ni tawada boy na do lao odona rigo ni ana ya asa ana lawani ogbukpe ha gbukpe nebo ya sukpise inodo mana he wigo ni asa ekpogo kiye ojo ori adowa ni ho ni ide yo to ho mi owu ara do duiko baka yi mo yi odo we ma ri to yin ma ebo wa ala wo ma we agi mo yo wa na jina odo na we onya wa ni na mo yo wa ni ye o wa ya ye ma na we agi wa ta ma ya ye na gbode na temata o wa na nu we ye na ogo obukhana no ri awa no bena na gbube ba yana so oni rie ma we pe me ade ni eke asayowana owo hin ga asana ni epo agba ya le lerere ni ana mi go ya asa ana we na mo ladia eso we ko ni ma we se eso we mo mana we na we gbe gun ayo uru no zedo iyima e ma when we retire na egbe we de wa mi igo ko ya bo wa ino mana tamodo emi dano emi esi no
èmi dáná gọ́ọ̀rì òótọ́ ọmọtàmọ́dà fún òfò ọmọtí bí òótọ́ ọmọtí bò wá sòpá ọ̀nàgà òfò nọ̀rọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ gọ́ọ̀mọ́tàmọ́dà fún ẹ̀hún yìí mẹ́ náà gbá bọ́gẹ́ nẹ́mọ̀tà òpìá ọ̀húta. Okwe ahụ wa ọdọ osalobu anukpo geva ọgwụkwụ okwe ahụ diọ ugbe ihe ugwere obodo weme ego nuwe ha ya ri ụtọ ugwu tamuda fọn uge ọrịkwe ọmana kwe wee reri ụzọ seyo wee utama dogo na opia no opiesi yohia suwe ya gwa luto
dona ga opiesi
yohia suwe ya gwa luto yohia mudia buwe buwani sukma nugbe ya luto nu ya buwa be no da foma oga hon ege no riri ya hon opia ni mana ku egui egbo tinha gui ekokiarinha
wese
domosa
yare no tare unda doya ekbita we okpe amenye okugbe sokme na yen ise yin aji ege na no hutene na ladia meke wi no ta no bu makedo mo ladia me pet ogena oge ibota eso we mu dunyi wodo lori ayuwa e ma tagile no we odeso omo nyine no wa yin iyabo ameru wajebe na miewe ona roge no paroge megide no ta serio ara de doka we okpana ya wuje ma we ini ene bo wania o tonera ile ya ga hune 100 by 100 no yerige anyanyo da asie osekoko ari kinana danyo wa danyo gbeso osiloho ina ireti ewe ina de ana ego kere ke ti odo ni we lare odo me yere ego ni ana ya so gbe ona we gele la wo wa mimu na re no wina so pa gbeso ya gbuzole ha gbozole va gbeso pe de ano ya mo ho yi ute oga rodo oga ire o ma gi egun a na le kalubi ya o ko na wo ri sege ina ana ego kere ni eri oto ni eso ya ye makazi oni ina de go la de ye nego gi ma ya so na ya gbolu yo otonare munu eri ma wa are erowi dana ona we ni eri na di 800,000 na di na ana ya gbolu ye re gada we
ena wo boy so egbena owe na ya mweken yo oni ni boti e feeling na ye kan ha aka ogbeke ba temu ana bi woma ye na ri 12 trip ye na ri ne owo ri mo ayo ye gi se na 12 ye de no e wana ni ge ya kai ba owo we tipa strike ere tipa no nya egbe mara no nya tipa re rebu orere lukune ere wa ta amagi ni amagbe gbe mo yo eno wa no mu yi ni akeka ofonoro ha pe ana ogura ori ke ise ezo ni ana wa wo be rigo re ori ere e mo na wa ga te mele mo na ga la university na ze bi ewo ni yo to owo ezeyin eye zeyo owo na wa wi na ya zebiyo ina agwa lu to kereri ni awe mu dari ke wa mu ne owa di yo unda ye na do ja o ya se gbe mi na re wo wa owe ge zeyo yo pa azige ba yo pa wona aye na o ze ni na ila wa la e atobi eri to ni ebo unda se so ma mo gbagbo yen se ti de zo boni le lele ebe eri o owo ni tamame ina wo gbe mu pa bu re e ma tagele na la gele ni opi ani dobu no ma vi agbo mo ko na mi ewe ehwo mu di ake we ni egere iwe ni na ya ma so kun ye no bi ani ma o ne gbe egbo wo do bi bu de wa ri ni ya mi a bi a ke ma gbe ya o ko we kinia
wa we si pe so waro no ji ku oni nyime egbe na tana o pia no ma mu igbagbon we ma bo ma geno oko no metin go ebo ma dia nu ya gwezio benu wa ya bo eso waro oko awa mugo ni awe da fun me ya gun eri oto ni oko ni mi mi to mi go ora wa gun owe iyan ta wara
eyan gele uta
iyan da fe no nya wara
eyan gele no
ige bae eze ige esuku oge mo ha upon da yoko ni kun ama we to de ye mo kun egbopo be ri oyen na we gbobo ehin agwa akun amuno pe ani tokin azi o negbe egbopo be ri o mo bobo wa le o le rundu ni wo pe ani ndaga yen go me 1 naira o mi oga go me sele o mi o ma na ri ene okori de so ne gbe mi be ri o ni ge sunu de ige ope ani yin kun igo guyen odo bo wale ete onyin me no gba so pan onyin mi pe ani bun osie ni kwo ni bun na we gbe ere ri
wese edolowo me wa ho mi yi mana ya na ege yi ma opoko atu an mata no owe emi osi ni oke ke ni ma hotel ewu mana we oko egwo ma dioma giagba muso giagba ma oko kini ni bi no wa kai owe de baezis iyo agbon magba ma ebi no wa na ati help meet giako ko we na sira oko kin okbi ala zuru mama agbon oko ri bo bae unda emi oko na ro pa ho oke ri ege no tan owe ina so no ya esi wan abetima esi wan owe ovan no ma o se wa obu se so mana we go ma ro loro yeke no gweru ai we kiamu iru yeke iga wi yo bonu e ma ta no emi no samo bazun da eri oku olopia we no ri obo bae no ya muso no wi yo bonu so pipi so da gele mi we obo sami ai ami adueki igo la obo ye ba lo egbo a ye gi zeyo ohoni eso me ara si go wa eso yo zige bae eso yo zige suku uye ni omi egbe e monye so ba ke sukure abawo ni arigo na ye egbe ye igbo ko neri ya o da gi me sano je oge kan amunene okoda munobo oso amogie ne nebo ye gi de gbo ko di e memo e moni gi de gbo ko bi ya na rabu wa egbo ma be ri o baga gele gbode na temata eduno pebu no da be ni mata ba eni osiri no ko na zo de no da o ke bi ha wo pe a o ko ni makari o kan do alu pe ani o makari o kan do awu tabo se ba eye omuweni be odo mi go yi ohun ni ototo eye ki aga je ohun ni le megbe we ni egu edolo yi owo di agba mo wa e no ya bo pe ani mo wa e o pe no ma mu egbe ni makata se we so aro we ra ye bi ama ku be kiama okwo mare ebe wa yi wa na yi wa lo me vi o mo we yo ule keni je na la wo na epopo me ko fo me osobo ke ye ni zio owe ta na ni ba ni ana sa me ba wo me no de we ade body uhu wo bera agwana mi we bo we bai iri ono ikwe so gele ro na mi we o mego ya mu na wa we no ya bo wa de ni na de ka me ma bo wi o bo wa ni na okpa ni obo eni okpa ni aro me be ni okpa be dokpa yi ma be katare ugie ibota na mi we okpa ni na ya okwo ni na ri oto ona ri go no okpa ni no ri oto okpa ni siba ona we ohono ni egbe ni o kan yo ona gbe ni eto boye yo o na we o ma mini oyo pa ye bi na adofin ene yo nya ye nje pe to pa no ri ohun ona ewe bo owo ni kewu ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀pẹ́ ní yàrá ọgbà ní ọ̀tọ̀ ní kìíní ọmọ àríwú ọ̀pẹ́ ní ilé mọ́ ọ̀hún ọbẹ̀ lọ́ka bìíní ẹnìwọ̀n màmá ìyá mú ẹyọ ọdún yìí yá yóò yí sèba agbólúyọ nẹ yí bàbá má sọ̀tọ̀ ní yí má rí ẹ bèbá ní nà ẹ̀rọ ọwọ́ mi àgbẹ̀tọ̀ náà wẹ̀ dọ́tọ̀ náà kí yí wọ́n kà mú wáyé dọ́tọ̀ ọwọ́ nílé mọ́túárì ayé kí wọ́n náà ọ̀tọ̀ bí yí yá nẹ gbogbo ẹ̀dẹ̀nu yá gbẹgbà rẹ ni ọ̀nà àní ìrọ̀lẹ́ gbogbo agbálótọ́ yìí máa àní ìgbàlótọ́ mà náà gbólúyọ ọ́nìwé rí yá ọ̀hìn ènìyàn ọ̀rọ̀ pé à baraka gbèrè àdì ìbẹ́kẹ́ náà gbébọ̀ yàwó ìtẹ́ àmọ́ ẹ̀rà rè òkò náà ríwó yà dótọ̀ wọ́n náà wá egun yẹn dótọ̀ wúdà òun náà mú egbèrè ótọ̀ náà wáyé wúdà òun náà bò tiẹ̀ submissiveness ọmọ egbèrè ótọ̀ lọ́nyà máa yà pé tọ́pá nọ̀rọ̀ mọ̀ àdàfẹ́nẹ́ lẹ́kẹ̀sì èmi kéènì nà ọ̀mẹ́ ọ̀nà wẹ̀ àwọn ẹ̀gẹ́ èrí mọ́ ẹsẹ̀ gbọ́mọ̀dé sí omi ní ha ẹ̀kí yà lù ẹ̀yẹ wẹ̀dí wẹ̀ ògbó ẹ̀dọ́ tọ̀ ògbó ní gèlè wẹ̀ ìyẹ̀mọ̀ tọ̀ kèké yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ha ògbó ní dè ótọ̀ wẹ̀ ní wẹ̀ náà yà rí ótọ̀ náà rí kí yẹ wọ́n náà yà múlò hó wọ́n náà yà dànyọ́ ògbó ní rí wù ní ha wọ́n dáwọ́ ògbó ní ọ̀pá bíẹ́ ní àmàgígó náà mọ̀ yìí wá ní àmàmí ọ̀tọ̀ mọ̀ yìí àná yà mú yìí tẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ ìrẹ́rìí ìhò náà ègbì yẹn rẹ́rìí ògbó àyà yìí ìhò kí iye ìnọka ẹgbẹ ẹnàgbọn kára.
ìpèsè wà gẹlẹ rọ nùnyìmíyàn èso wàrà ọdà zoe ọdà zowa.
efa mi a o yẹ wọgọ wa àbí mi nà ọmọ ẹva kúgbẹ a.
èso wà mẹ ẹva.
àdàso ọbẹ amọgọ wa.
ọdà zoe nọbẹ ọdà zowa ẹbẹ lọgọ náà ẹ ọni òkú èsì ọni òkú a. N'ọmụdị agịdịgba okpu anọ keke nụ okpogharụ ji na n'ọdazoe nọbị ọdazogwa n'ọdazoe na ọdazogwa ihe ewere nọ keke wụwa enyu n'ime ọdafe n'ọnya wa enyu n'ime n'ụta ọgwụgwa ọmọ anọgwego benu mọ ẹsẹ uwerie n'ẹsẹ okwo nọmẹ ọbẹrẹrẹ ọgbọgbẹ n'okpẹ akpẹwà akú ọmọ gbuyuẹ egbọmọbẹrẹ ọnàdọ nwaru uji nọ kẹkẹ ẹkẹ arọ ọsẹ ẹramẹnọ sọpá uji nọ kẹkẹ ẹkẹ arọ ọsẹ ní egbọkpẹ arẹrẹ dogu umego ọmọna nọ ego re urie nebe nu mese okwu ewere bai okwu awokwo na kokokoko mo riere nọrọ ọdịgbagbe fere
wesi onda ye yi mo boro ba ya ohun ta bu wa e okwu abokwo ohun ta bu wa
okwu ohun ta
bo okwu
o salo bo ya ji e
no dai don geni e mo ya ohun ta ìrìnà bẹ́ẹ̀ ìwé ìrìnlẹ̀ nọ́kẹ́kẹ́ nà lòwò wá ọ̀pọ̀ ya ń ta.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ní sàlóbu ayé àjì òkú ya ọ̀nà kàjì òkú ya ọ̀kẹ́ yú òkú òtótó òkú ya ọ̀ọ́jì ǹda ẹ̀ ọ̀kú akájì òkú ya ẹ̀ ó sàlóbu akájì òkú ya òkùnhùn ta òkú ya ọ̀bẹ̀ kàmú kó wẹ ìwé mẹ̀wẹ̀ dùn mẹ̀mẹ̀ owó pè á kẹ́kẹ́ nù kò jò ẹ̀ ó kò ó pè á ọ̀ọ́jò owó kò.
Wọ́n sọ wa tọ́ pé mọ́nà ìwà òbọ̀nù wẹ̀rẹ̀ ńlá rí náà náà rè yé náà miẹ̀wẹ̀ àdósí kaná ọ̀yíkà bọ́ọ̀bì tàgbé mẹ ní ìpò mẹ ní ìpìyẹ sọ lọ́yà wọn wò kó òwe rà òwe rẹ̀ ló kù.
ẹ ó yin mẹ nọ gba.
Wọ́n yìí sẹ́ ọ́nìrì ẹ̀ máa wẹ̀ ló wọ̀ wí òpè à.
ọmọ jẹbẹ mi ọmọ jẹbẹ ẹ jẹbẹ ọkàn ló òpè à sí ibùgbẹ ló kù àjò wa òpè à òpè à òpè à ọ òpè à èké náà rírí akín ẹ ọgbẹ ẹ ò tẹ mọ lẹkùn náà àná mo bọ wẹ ẹ òpè à ó ẹbẹbùẹbù òpò náà bò wá òpè à sí yo.
Ok, agua.
Agua.
Wo ko bo wa pe asiyo.
Agua.
Ok. No agua no ro iwe. No na migo, o migo bodo. Era mi ohodo nya wa ni.
O uji ari enegbe. Opo na mu gbe ekun soto. Ona aruji no da fun e. O gba ni o be egbe to po ni ri uji ni e. Ege gbe won ebe no go vie. Ege lu ebe no go vie. Muda opo ovien beno pe agwale uji bebo oboko eri mani ko eri ma be gwalu uji anwe mama no se bo bodo
wesi
bana koko gbe ome orien so onwo
wesi edun no me wa he ni yi magwan we ma ya na be si we ohu mo wo sokbia emi agwa sukma ọ̀kẹ́kẹ́ wẹ èmìnìpè amásẹ̀tì irun òkú lọ́ní ìwárá wẹ agbárí yìí mẹ́gbẹ́ ǹda alámi ewu pè awẹ̀kí ẹ̀rẹ̀ bóyá láti yóò bọ̀nu ẹ̀ ní ya bò wá wẹ̀gá yẹ dàgbọ̀n wọ́n yà fẹ́ pọ́n mọ́ wọn àyè mi ewu kò rí ìwá ọ̀rẹ́ gbé yìí bọ́ nínú ẹ̀ ìpè sọ̀rọ̀ ìtẹ̀gbẹ̀ nù ọ̀gbìn àtúwàgbé ọ̀gbìn yẹn rí ọ̀gbìn lálá ọ̀gbìn yẹn yóò wá ní ọ̀gbìn yẹn yóò wò hù ọ̀hún ìdòbó wa yẹn sì lélẹ̀ ọba àwàwà ẹ ó bàbá broda ẹ tún sì lélẹ̀ ìyóbọ̀ yá ẹ̀rùn ẹ̀ wẹ́ náà ó pè àná yẹn ní gbò sàlóbọ̀nà gbọ́ yẹn ní gbè wọ́n á mi wẹ́ ọ̀hún ní nọ́ọ̀dà ní ọ̀yà tó bọ̀ ẹ̀dá bó wa ni wọ́n mú kó dà o sọpá ẹ̀dùn ló pẹ̀rù màá mú pàbùbẹ̀ rẹ̀ gẹ̀ màá bẹ́ nà tàbí èyí zẹ́ nà yòókù tó bọ̀ yẹ inú yín lè wé rí ọ pé nà náà mú ẹ pé ọ náà ọdọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn gbòòrò rí ọ ẹ̀ẹ́ta máa wáyé ọ̀tọ̀bọ̀ ẹ̀ láyé láwọn ọdún yẹn kìnnà náà rí òtọ̀ náà gbá wà gèdèmà mẹ́ ẹ̀ gèdèmà ẹ̀ ìgbà rẹ̀ wẹ̀ ẹ̀wọ̀ wá máa ẹ̀ ọ̀wọ̀ wá máa ma agbèrò wúgbó kéde orí ẹyẹ wọn mẹ́ òkú ẹsẹ̀ bí wà bìbì pa ìnáná mi wẹ̀ ẹ̀ẹ́mọ̀ mọ̀wẹ̀ òmọ̀wẹ̀ ọwọ́ àgbà ẹ̀bá ni màgè bọ́ òkú ó nìdá rọ̀ ọ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀wẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ náà gbé kọ́ dà ẹ̀gbẹ̀ òkú rẹ̀ ọ̀kí sọpánà ìmìẹ̀nẹ́wẹ́ ìrí ọ̀pá wà sí ọ̀pá wà gbákín òkú ẹsẹ̀ ti pàbọ̀ ọmọ ọ̀pá rárí ẹ̀ yàrí òtọ̀bí ọmọ ọ̀sùn ẹ̀rá bọ́ ọgbólù ọba àwọn èèyàn ọdún bó wà ní ọbẹ̀ fún ìdánmọ́ná tá máa wẹ̀ ẹ̀dọ́ màkà gbọ̀nkàmẹ́ náà aró ti máa ní kẹ́ẹ̀ka gbọ̀nkàmẹ́ náà bẹ̀ ògẹ́ mánàrántàm mánàgbé náà dún mọ́ ìlàdí àmọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ dùn èmi èsì náà sọpẹ́ náà kọ́ni ọ̀nà ọ̀rọ̀ wẹ òhànádó táyì wẹ òhù oníri bọ́ ọ̀rí sè wà ní ara ayé aláwọ̀ ní agbálùwá ìyẹn náà yà agbálùwá ó bọ̀ èmi ẹ̀ ọ̀nà kà máa dàfọ́ ẹ̀mí èmi ò wá náà o dàfọ́ kèrè wó làdí anáyà àṣà anáyà rẹ́ni yàrá páàkì adéwò òhù ní ìpó nẹ ní ayé àrò wa ni ọ̀dọ́ ẹ̀ máa ẹ̀ wẹ ọ̀hùhàn ọ̀nyà wà ní ayé ìkẹ́tìkà náà mi ní ẹ̀ ìhó ni ọ̀rọ̀ ìmìẹ́ ọ̀dìgbò ní kẹ́tìkà èdè ní màdá màá wá kàkà bọ́ yìí gbé ara ẹgbẹ́ ìlérí ọmọ akẹ́kẹ́ ìní dá ẹ̀rọ àníhó nínú ìwé ẹgbẹ́ wọn àdìgbò bò wá wà kí á pàkì àkíyàn dé lálọ́dì náírà yé nà pòpò wà kàbà wà wò kó ìtẹ́ bó wà yé fọpa ǹda òyìn ẹ̀wẹ̀ ẹ̀wẹ̀ máa mú gbé tẹ̀nẹ̀ wọ́n tẹ̀tẹ̀ ní ìrìn ọmọ tiẹ̀ gbọ́ wẹ́ wọ́n yìí ní ní ata ọ̀dàfún náà ìwé náà yà á yún hàmù yẹn ẹ̀ náà sọ́kò kókó náà bòkó gbó ọyẹ kéré ìtẹ́ tàmá ẹ̀ náà wọ́n ní tiwa ní tàmú wa wíkẹ́ náà jẹ́rẹ́ ní anáhẹ́yọ̀ déédéé ọ̀gí náà wẹ ọ̀kẹ́wẹ̀ yà wà bá mi kú nílẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ náà rí yẹ ẹ̀ náà wọ́n ma nídó tàmú wa we no gije na ni ma mi na gba na re ni areba e pa ni ti ma no awa abe ten we tie ni eteni pe abe tunwe ya se ti mo e ko do to we lare o ko na ma we ni da onye ne won ya e no una so pa o ma mo le no iti we ni a ni wa hia e bo vie ebe ya no ya do to bi no o mu na wa da we re o ke de ni pa be re ku we ki make money ne o we ma ya hi e o jari ma ere aya opologbe o se so ku we ke we gbe re o gia magaro we ka yi go ladia uri ni no pe a no wi yo boni we ni go na gwalo de bana ya doto uyere bia mani aro wo magele de ori le de una le ri go ladia we ja ya agbolu bia mani aro wo opiari magele gbolu mo we ni dai we be man le de na ko de na keka wa ge we wa ge ilo boy iyere no ye ayi ire gbe so de kotu wa ye ko ga we ya wo ma no ki egbe no bo ba dia no ka mi master we master ri go no wa do ki ekere o we ya wo ma no ki ni a we ke nu ma kwa yi e una da e na wa ri go we ya ke we ona wo ye ona ebi ma oluwe o ona je ase o sa ba no la o unda e ni ma mu la de na o ke kaka bo isi okoru te do we ohubowa le e a hu awo ohubowa so pe we eru no gbugbe ya gbu olokpe ani no tamae igigo gbe no aya ri uto tamae igigo gbe no ya gbolu owi e mo bobo we ga yi mi ni ya so sewe itamae wa mi ya so sewe igba ba tie wa mi ya so sewe e ina to bo me bibi ake ya gwa lotori etima wala o ijobo e abiji ma yi wa ge bo ha me go sewe we de bae we na egbove we ga go ho we o de no uji no kwa no we enuwe no ade mo iya uyo kwa no we ni meje de na o ha me na di moto mu meti wa fie iwa fie o awa no pa no be e magne o ha me jo e ba ma na mu ge ibota na se fo o be ki edo ya o fo gbo sagwa eyo wa ki ma ye wa yi na jina oba atokpe ise
RTV, certainly the best.
Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwike Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osarene Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Upoma Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbon Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV. Certainly the best.
In a time where the nation is still looking at ways to tackle issues of insecurity, and most especially as Nigerians are really asking the hard questions about democracy, and of course as we gradually get close to Democracy Day, June 12, and commemorating Nigeria's democracy, and of course those who struggle for it, there's still this hard question about tackling insecurity. We look at the challenges facing the government and of course the citizenry, where it is difficult for you to even sleep with one eye closed. Well, it's always a challenge as Nigerians, as citizens, do sleep these days with their two eyes opened. We look at the release of the 360 captives from the over 400 captives from the Borno state, and of course the challenges of some infants who died in the process. And again, we look at the abductors also demanding in your kidnap saga, where even the principal is saying that they're still appealing to Nigerians and the government of Nigeria to help in the release of the captives, most especially where they say that the abductors are demanding that Sharia law be enshrined in the Constitution before they can be released. Well, with this, I say good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, viewers on independent television, and welcome to the program this morning on ITV. I am Philip Omo-Gyukmo, and I still have my co-anchors with me. Arnold Rockwell Stevens, good morning. Of course, Lawrence Osifo, good morning.
Good morning, Philip. Yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, great. Looking at the challenges we're facing, I don't know. How did you wake up this morning?
Well, I woke up feeling blessed and amazing. But when you say right now we sleep without 2 eyes open, I really wonder what that means if you literally sleep with 2 eyes open. But anyway, I'm sure an average Nigerian will understand what that statement truly means. And I mean, it's really disheartening that we're still talking about insecurity, even as we are getting toward the celebration of Democracy Day come June 12, 2026. A lot of things to talk about this morning.
Well, I think you have something to talk about as regards that.
Literally, so sleeping with 2 eyes open actually means being very vigilant even while you're sleeping. You know, that's the literal sense. So if a cockroach walks through the path, if or anything shakes, you just like, oh, what's happening? So that's what you mean literally, because there's no way you can sleep and your eyes will be open. Sleeping actually means your eyes must be closed.
Yeah, you're sleeping and you're seeing visions.
We know the literal sense.
Yeah, because these days we now have CCTV in our vision,
everywhere.
You know, wherever you go, you just have this imagination what's happening at home.
It's really
what's happening at this particular location. So it's
really pathetic. That is the state.
Do we have to continue at this rate?
We shouldn't continue, because the government in power, before they came in, they said they can tackle the whole thing. You know, when I see people trying to draw a common line between how it was under late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Olusegun Obasanjo, former Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and later Muhammadu Buhari, and how it is right now, I feel the people who are you know, doing all of this, trying to draw this thin line, probably they don't know what they are saying, or they don't know what they are doing, or they do, but they are being ignorant of the fact that the government in power told us they are going to change the situation. That's why they voted for them and they came in. So if this is where we are now, people try to say, oh, we're now comparing insecurity. We shouldn't compare things that are negative. We should be comparing how the economy was then and how it is now. Okay, then it was, you know, this was what was happening now. Not insecurity. Somebody was telling you during the time of Jonathan, they kidnapped Chibok girls. During the time of Jonathan, they kidnapped Dapchi girls. During the time, no. That's a wrong comparison. It's really, really wrong. But this is where we find ourselves. We just hope someday we get out of the whole mess, because you see the way the whole issue that happened in former minister's sister and twin, how they were so swift to get them out. Why can't they also be swift? Why can't they be swift to get out children? The 2-year-old.
I know you go there.
Definitely, I will go there. Definitely, I will go there. If you care about children, you know, you should understand how these things work. Imagine a 2-year-old child. In news I have this morning information that one out of those children, 3-year-old child, have died in captivity. Why would the child not die? You take me away from my father, my mother, my family, my relative. I don't eat noodles anymore. I don't eat, you know, the good food I used to eat. So the child will definitely die.
I think it's quite a huge challenge. And if you look at what the principal said, and I was also kidnapped, and the aspect of the abductors demanding for the Sharia law to be enshrined in the Constitution. Sometimes you wonder, you know, because if it's to be enshrined, it then means that even those who are the abductors will go in for it. Because Sharia law gets kidnapped.
Let me tell you, Nigeria is a secular state. We'll start with that. According to the preamble of the Constitution, there shall be a state called Nigeria. Not one religion override or supersede. So you cannot wake up one morning because you are doing terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, you are saying we should turn our... No, it will never happen. Okay. I stand here to say, or I sit here to say it.
Well, there's a to talk about, most especially as we use it to look at the comparative performance, you know, that we've had during the military interregnum, and of course, you know, the democratic rule, the begging for a democratic rule, even in 1993, where we also call it a watershed, you know. What do you see as opportunities that are available, you know, before the Nigerian government to make sure that they bring democratic rule, you know, the way it should be?
Oh, well, there are those who would say here in Nigeria we get to practice a special and a different kind of democracy. Because what is democracy? It's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's the layman definition. Yeah. But then again, I'd love to go back to the security situation. Yesterday we saw a recent video from the principal who is still in captive, and she actually debunked all of the rumors that's been flying around on socials and on mainstream media, saying that the captivities, that's the word, of the captiva, if there's a word like that, for lack of words, are not demanding for 1 billion naira. They are also not, emphasizing as regards the Sharia law. What they want is that the federal government should release their persons and just let them go. We'll talk some more about it this morning on TMI Socials if we have the time to. But then again, I feel like all we do in Nigeria is just to lament, lament, and lament. And if we don't talk about the way forward, we're still going to remain in circle. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Okay.
Today, we're also seeing in the newspaper, just to land on this, that the Senate is going to be passing the state police bill, or we are going to pass the state police, stuff into law. And we're looking forward to that. If that's going to be the lasting solution to insecurity in Nigeria, we can only hope, wait and see.
Okay, well, despite the fact that there could be conflicting reports, but what we have on the Punch newspaper did show that the abductors are demanding for the enshrinement of the Sharia law in the country. But put that aside, put that away. What should be the actions that the government should take? Most especially, we expect that the government should be proactive in this case. Most especially, we're heading closely to the 2027 elections, and this becomes a yardstick for Nigerians or for the electorate to really choose if the ruling government, the ruling party or Progressive Congress is really taking it hard to tackle insecurity. For the fact that we got the release of 360 abductees shouldn't also make us to rest in our oars as a government, Philip, because a lot needs to be done in that regard.
Let me ask you, do you think the government in power is ready to end insecurity? Let me ask you that question.
Well, it's going to have an overriding negative effect. It's going to have a negative effect on the forthcoming election. If the ruling party is not able to stabilize in this direction, they could be losing that grip
you think so?
In getting a second term.
You think so?
Well,
it happened during
I know there are other factors. I know there are other factors that may also, come into play, like the incumbency factor, if you ask me, and of course, like the political structure that is also available. Because sometimes you wonder the members being poured in for the primaries. Sometimes you wonder if the electorate can really take up the need to take over this election.
Absolutely.
The election belongs to the people, and so they should determine it.
That is on a paper sense, actually,
if
not in
everyone
reality.
stay away, then the political structure could deliver.
What you just
who's
said,
going to be the next president.
just said is on paper. The electorate, the election belongs to the people. Is on paper. you write that so that you don't fail exams.
Exactly.
In reality, you and I know it does not belong to the people.
Exactly. That's where we said there's need for the gap to be closed, for the electorate to come out en masse in order to defeat the antics of the political structure.
The same electorate to give 5,000 naira and one
right.
rice.
Let's allow that to settle. Let's quickly go to Joseph Kadiri of our Abuja studio. I think you have a bite on this. Good morning, Joseph.
Well, good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to This Morning on ITV from the Abuja Network Studio. We'll be looking at the ongoing reconciliation in most of the political parties as a result of the outcome of the primaries that happened about 2 weeks ago. Of course, the NDC has kickstarted that. We saw Peter Obi appealing to members of the party to calm those who didn't scale through, those who did not win the primaries should be patient. They may emerge victorious. And of course, we've seen those in the ruling party that did not win the election have already defected. Top on the list is the former Deputy Senate President, Obioma Agege. We've seen that he's now with the NDC. And when you look at the PDP, of course, yesterday that process commenced. Whatever it is, we shall be told the outcome. And, well, that's what we'll be looking at.
Joseph Kadiri, just as we also continue to interrogate the process, most especially the aspect of insecurity, just as also the conflicting reports about the principal clearing the issue over the reports being credited to, the statement being credited to the abductors by saying that they were demanding for the Sharia law to be enshrined in the Constitution, but that again has been debunked by the principal. And they are basically asking that there are members who have been, arrested and also facing issues in the correctional center be released in their stead. But let's see how that goes, because it is upon the government to look into the nitty-gritty, because we heard about, the government taking various decisions on tackling this headlong. Even the forest guards that were recruited and the special rescue team that were recruited. We not want to see reports, suggesting that there's a great, move, result-oriented feedback in really rescuing them, because we've had them being captured for over 3 weeks, and that again is alarming. Well, let's quickly join Messalina of our Lagos studio to have a bite on this. Good morning, Messalina.
Beautiful morning to you, Philip. Good morning, Anu. Good morning, Lawrence. And good morning, Joseph Kaduri. Trust you guys are doing good. Okay, in the issue of insecurity, we kept talking about it every day, and I would keep saying that what the people want is just a lasting solution to insecurity. So if this terrorists are saying that, oh, they are not requesting for 1 billion naira Sharia law, they just want their people to be released, I mean, these people that have been in captivity have been there for 4 weeks. They have families. We don't know how they're faring. We don't know how they're doing. We don't know what they're eating. Those children are there. The teacher are there. Well, all I would say is just for the government to, do what they're supposed to do, act first, and so those people would be released and, be happy and go back to their family. But basically, from Lagos, we are not looking at insecurity today. We're looking at the forthcoming 2027 election, power of the ballots, opposition parties and Nigerians' future. What do the opposition parties stand a chance for the forthcoming 2027 election, or is just the ruling party? So we're basically going to be talking about politics today, and we'll be looking at the forthcoming 2027 election. And of course, Dr. Victor Ohai is here with me. Dr. Victor, good morning.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I think this, as we head towards June 12, the polity, if you like, is boiling at the moment, and it's very good that we bring these things to the front burner, and more importantly, inform the populace about what their rights are, what they're supposed to do, and to ensure that this time around our votes truly count. We'll be discussing the issue of ballots as opposed to bullets, and the only way to do it is to ensure fair, credible elections.
All right. Over to you, Philip.
Selena, big thanks also, Dr. Victor Ohai. Just as you made mention of democracy, it's still really on my mind to talk about it, because if we look at the 1993 presidential election, where it was already, gathered that election was the freest and the most credible. Again, looking at that for over 30 years, or let's say basically 33 years of tackling issues about democracy. By now, Nigeria shouldn't be talking about this aspect of such a high spate of insecurity. But how do we tackle it up? We have issues of corruption. We have issues of accountability, not on the front burner, in government stable, and most especially where it's expected that the government takes the right steps in making sure that it gives account of everything it does. We usually believe that they are public servants, and of course, otherwise becomes the case.
So we're made to understand that.
So in all of this, there seems to be a politicization of this violence and insecurity, terrorism.
I've always told people, I said, if some persons are not making good money out of this insecurity, it would have stopped a long time ago. To every ill in the society, someone is benefiting from it. Let's be honest. You call it shallow economy or shadow economy.
Okay.
People benefit from every ills of the society.
Okay, but look at the aspect where some who are in the opposition, for instance, could also be fueling this in order to put the government in bad light.
It's possible. There's a possible. Anything can happen. Humans are unpredictable. Anything can happen. So we are here now. I don't know your thoughts in your mind. I don't know. Government
function is always peddle this. Those in power always peddle this.
Okay.
There are some who are politicizing this in order to discredit the government in power. But should that be an excuse?
That's where, sadly, that's where the conversation is tilting towards, and I think it shouldn't be, because the government of the day, of some of the persons, the government officials, are trying to tilt and, you know, drive our attention over to politics. Meanwhile, you shouldn't be politicizing people's life. Over 47 or 47 in some cases, 100 girls and children. In a particular incident, we didn't even hear of that. I feel like what we get to see every time is a situation when a conversation is trending, we put our attention to it, and if it doesn't trend, we turn our attention away and we don't talk about it, and that shouldn't even be the case. But then again, if we look at the modus operandi of this insecurity situation we get to face every single time in the country, it's always the same. It's always during transition periods. Take you back to the Goodluck Jonathan era. We saw when the Chibok girls case was on, it was hashtag bring back our girls, and we saw patient Jonathan saying the blood you are sharing, there is God. We also Nigerians are calling out for the empathy, side from Oluremi Tinubu. We're not saying that. What we're seeing is her sharing cars to women who are not APC, strongholds in their state. And now, it's actually a whole lot of things to talk about, really. But then I'll land by saying, a famous person once said in Nigeria that if insecurity lasts for more than a day, then the government of the day has a hand in it. So we can only hope, pray, and see that the state policing situation actually, nips it on the board.
And quickly, Philip, before let's also make this clear. Before you get a number from the government, for instance, 200 was kidnapped. That is not the actual number. Let's be honest, this is Nigeria, where we don't even have data and statistics to measure how many persons left so and so place at the point in time. Remember the one that happened in Kebbi? The number was conflicting. At the point you hear 200, at the point you hear 250. So even these 47 were being told, I'm not even satisfied anymore. 47.
Okay, that brings to question having the right
data. I also want to draw attention to something. So right now we're seeing on social media where if I talk against the government, for instance, it's very easy for the government of the day to just quickly come to me and we saw what happened with Justice Crack. But now we're seeing these bandits, this terrorists flaunting monies on the line with nothing being done about it, and they're also giving giveaways. Nigerians are sending their money. I saw a video of a man who said he got 100,000 naira from this terrorist, and I'm like, really? You're benefiting from the suffering of persons? Are we even sane in this country? That's also another question. Why is it difficult for the government of the day to track these guys using technology? I mean, we have AI, we have satellites. Why is it so hard for them to do? What is going on? Do we have persons benefiting from the situation, or you just want to flush out the current administration to say, okay, they're not doing well enough in the area of insecurity, and let's have an opposition party, rule the nation?
Well, these are questions that are being asked, most especially as we gradually inch close to the 2027 election. If you say you want to, take over leadership, then you should take the right decisions in making sure you tackle the issues, that the country is faced with. For you to come out and say that you want to be voted for, it's expected that you must have studied, scrutinized the problems that we are faced with and raised viable objectives on how to tackle all of these problems headlong. I don't know if that's where you're talking towards.
No, I was trying to make, I was having a conversation with someone that doesn't stay in Nigeria, in Canada somewhere. He said, this is how they track things over there. Once you buy a phone, just the same way we register our SIMs. You register the area, your terrain. For instance, this Oluku or Igosa axis, they connect everybody to a security platform. If anything happens in one household, it alerts everybody around the terrain. So you might be held hostage. Someone has put a call across to the security agencies on your behalf. The person is.
Are you saying the security experts don't know this?
They do.
You say they don't know.
What is the problem?
A lot of things a lot of things we need to interrogate. Most especially, like I said earlier, having the right leadership. Because we don't want to see leaders who are just there for personal aggrandizement.
And that's what
we don't want to see leaders who will just be there. All they know about is to pick loans and then embark on elephant projects.
Loans.
We don't want that, because if we look at the trajectory, it's telling a bad story for the Nigerian government, the Nigerian people. Most especially when we seem to have lost patriotic values that we should have been, preaching and talking about and even living through our lives. They say leaders should be by example. and we want to see that, you know, coming up. Most especially, proactiveness in governance is key. All of these issues won't be happening if we have a leadership that is proactive, if we have a leadership that is passionate in tackling this, but without, casting aspersions on the administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But there is need to tackle this headlong. We heard about the reports of the release of the 360, abductees, but we also want to hear more releases. How they go about it, we don't care. But let them release all of these abductees.
No, we should care how
we care. But what I mean is life first. Whatever you do, no matter how you go about it, make sure that these lives are secure, because it's not really easy.
Right. Well, not to hold brief for the current administration, there are those who will tell you that insecurity situation didn't start today. It didn't start with this administration. I'm not holding brief for anybody. I'm just saying though, but it started, in 2000 or early 2000. But then again, it's your duty as the federal government or the number one man in the country to ensure that people are safe. Right now, what we're hearing is that security is everybody's business.
Oh,
so you might want to
security vote is not everybody's business. Yourself. The 800 million is not everybody's business.
Let's quickly state this, that there is no government without the people. And if we look at the theory of the state, the people came together and gave authority to them.
An elective.
Yes, for them to take over and maintain the affairs of the society. So after that has been done, there is no excuse for failure in administration.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse for poor governance. We want to see them, sitting behind the wheels and drive. We want to see them drive the figures, positively, and not to give excuses. The blame game saga has taken us backward, has never taken us forward. Yes, and so this again is another challenge where we'll also implore that the electorate has it all. You own the yam and the knife. And if we come out en masse in 2027 to pick the right leadership, we will be closing the gap on all of these, inadequacies we're having in power. Well, we'll take a short break, and then we'll be looking at the pages of the newspaper. Do stay.
Leading with xenophobic treatment of Nigerians, the tale of Nigerians currently in South Africa, when would it end? And interestingly, not only in Nigerians, other Africans in South Africa. It says federal government expresses displeasure at South Africa's government stance, considering retaliation measures, reschedules Nigerians' repatriation from Rainbow Nation on Wednesday. Malawians repatriated amid xenophobia concerns. On page 4, 5, and 6 of the New Telegraph newspaper, you see details of that story. Other interesting headlines making the rounds this morning: federal government clears 700 billion naira debt, approves payment of 1,240 local contractors. Subwriter says prioritizes these below. Okay, not sure what that is there, but you get details of that on page 8. Insecurity, NLC, TUC threaten nationwide action. When will this end is the big question. Obi condemns ethnic profiling, says crime has no ethnicity on page 5. Outside Nigeria, Israel-Iran trade strikes threatening to drag region back to full-scale war on page 5 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Away from that story, Nigeria can't achieve $1 trillion economy targets without outdated data. Abbas, actually speaking, says Statistics Bill 2025 imperative. Worry delineation report. Ijo Urobo groups accuse INEC of delay. Labour Party sues INEC for exclusion from Enugu East by-election. And finally, on the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper, Oyo abduction, school principal debunks Sharia law, ransom demand in video. We'll talk more about this on TMI Socials this morning.
All right, quickly, let's wrap it up with the Punch. The Punch is leading with terrorist den, 360 freed. Borno captive recounts starvation and death. That is what the Punch is leading with this morning on the front page of the Punch. You can also see on the Punch, page 11, INEC to deploy over 2,400 beavers and more than 9,500 staff for 2027 general election. And finally, Senate to debate state police bill this week. Senate to debate state police bill this week.
Oh, well, just looking at the headline, just a headline on the Guardian newspaper, where we have this, it says, on insecurity, labor protests, Senate expedites state police. We want to see what the National Assembly will be doing about this. Speedy passage of the state police bill and passing it into law is important. And again, it's upon the sub-national government to tackle this headlong. Most especially, we'll look at the unbudgeted security votes that are being given to sub-national governments. What are they doing with it? We want to look into situations where those amounts should be captured and then they should be made to account for it. Well, we'll be looking at this, going forward. We take a short break, and after which we'll be looking at the first discussion today from the Benin studio, where we take a reflection on democratic role from the projection of June 12 coming up just a couple of days time, and of course how this democracy has fed the Nigerian democracy and how we can tackle it headlong in terms of the issues that seem to be derailing the democratic process. Do stay. The 1993 presidential election was a watershed, most especially looking at the emergence in that election of late MKO Abiola, and of course the challenge that it faced, where it was denied, that administration by the military junta. We want to assess the state of democracy. We've had 33 years after June 12. What is the state of democracy in Nigeria? When they say government, simply put, democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And then we want to see a reflection of the people in all of this. But what has been the challenges in governance? What has been the loopholes, the lapses that the government or governance has not been able to capture, most especially looking at the different administrations that we've had? And despite that, democracy seems to be at the back seat in terms of governance. Well, joining me to look into this in the studio, we have the convener of the Concerned Edo Citizens Forum, and he is also the voice of the commoner, Roy Oribabo. Big thanks for joining, Roy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you.
And next to Roy, we have the senior pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church, Bishop Austin Igbasa. Thanks for coming, Bishop.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Welcome, Bishop.
Thank you.
Virtually, we're being joined by Matthew Edalese Esquire. Matthew Edalese Esquire is a policy analyst. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Phillips. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's quickly look at this, because it is upon us that we have a democracy that we must protect. We have a democracy, looking at the electoral process, looking at all that has transpired, in the 1993 presidential election. What do you see after 33 years, Roy, the state of our democracy? What do you see about it, and what do you see as gains and, of course, challenges?
Well, 1993, I can still remember when I was in secondary school. I can still give you a vivid account of what happened, although you sincerely was not allowed to vote that time. I think they introduced an Oshoefo who was quite very formidable. It was, I think, one of the beauty of democracy then was celebrated across the group. People were happy about Nigeria able to conduct election. That's why the election was not 100% okay, but as at that time you can give 90-something to it. One would naturally expect by now Nigeria should consolidate positively in terms of the game. But as at today, you record 1993 Oshoefo was introduced, and people were one kind of the methodology then was perfect, and people were really were happily.
There wasn't vote buying.
No.
Or then you were not really of age to.
No, it's not about me.
Were you?
It's not.
You were not.
I was in the secondary school. Okay. Therefore, the issue whether I was of age is not the issue. It's not the issue.
Because we're looking at 3 years back. So you take 3 years off your age. You were not.
Who told you that? You know, basically, Oshoe for them was a perfect arrangement for us. Okay. But we expect Nigerian government and Nigerian politicians to build on it. As of today, this year we try to replicate that, and we now metamorphose into Oshoe fraud. You know, what does that show to you? That instead of us to be making gay, you know, we are retrogressing. We are progressing fast in error.
Wow.
You know, as a nation. As of today, can we celebrate democratic principles? All the democratic structures has been they have collapsed as we talk now. There's a deliberate policy for those who manage us to destroy our democratic institution. So by so doing, the gain we are supposed to harness, in terms of progression, we are going back fastly.
But what about the electoral processes, the constitutional amendments and all that?
No, the
has there not been progress?
The constitutional amendment, basically, the progression we have made in that direction is highly academic, because we have not been able to criticalize it, practicalize it. Constitution has never been the problem of this country. All the paperwork, you look at it, we are doing well. Implementation has been our problem.
Introduction of technology, for instance.
Introduction of technology.
We had the smart card reader.
No, as of today, can you conveniently celebrate the introduction of technology into our political discourse? The answer is no. You know, a situation where we have even when we did the election manually, the whole world celebrated Nigeria. Nigeria introduced electronic means. Then you begin to wonder, what kind of a society are we? What is working in Ghana cannot work in Nigeria, because Nigeria is an unusual environment, unusual place. People deliberately don't want the system to work.
You mean it's a unique place?
I don't want to say unique. It's an unusual. You know, if you say unique, you are giving a coloration that is something to emulate. You know, it's a society which you emulate. And many countries in the world now are proud of Nigeria. If you are living the shell of this country, you understand what I'm telling you. That immediately you tender down your passport. You will know that the damage that has been done to this country. It's only a few persons who believe, because the country is working for few persons, and any society that works for few persons is a doomed society. You know, we must be bothered. I am bothered. If 1993 Nigeria can, under the military, they can even arrange an election and the whole world was proud of us. What have happened to us after 33 years? It calls for a deep sober reflection. This is not time to be grandstanding. This is not time for sentiment.
Roy, let me pause you there. Let me come to Bishop. Bishop, you are much older than Roy, so definitely as at 1993, that's 33 years ago, you were opportune to have voted in that acclaimed one of the best elections we've ever had. So we are tying 1993 and 1999 together, because we used to have Democracy Day 29th of May, then June 12th celebrating, but now everything is together. So we are looking at 33 and 27. If you look at a 27-year-old child, if she's female, in most cases she's married. Yeah. Then a 33-year-old child, if he's female, if he's male, somehow maybe he should be married. But let's look at this time: 33 years, 27 years. Could we say life was much better as at then than today, in your own perspective?
In my own perspective, when you look at how we were, our orientation, even as a nation, everybody wants the military to live by all means. And everybody was excited, working to make sure that the military move off the stage so that we can join other nations of the world. And that is why you see a lot of things that were introduced into our politics today were not there. One of the things that happened in 1993 was that it was Muslim tickets.
Just like we have today.
Yes. And nobody was talking about nobody was talking that the issue was not there. Everybody was excited because people are tired of what the military was doing then, and we wanted to move into democracy. And so many things, the military was pressured to come in with those two parties that they came in with that, and that was good. If you look at it today compared to what we have, the difference is very wide, because then you only have SDP and NRC. So, and the reason is that you already know that if one fails, the other one will win. So there's no issue of you're going to have plenty party. So if you are not here, you are either NRC or SDP or you didn't belong. And the joy of people coming out of military then was very high because everybody was hopeful that as soon as we get this, we are going to progress as a nation. But when we compare it to this, the kind of democracy we have now, we have not really gotten there. We have those of us who voted then and who also championed that the military should move out so that the democracy can take place. We are not too much excited. Not that we have not made progress. Not that I won't sit down here and say we have not made progress at all. Jonathan was in government, he created 10 universities. When you look at those 10 universities today, you talk of it has created job opportunity for lecturer, for non-teaching staff, for the environment where the schools are established. The economy of that place cannot remain the same. I have university brought to my village now. But those who used to leave their house for people to clear, they are now taking 450,000 in a year for a room for students. And the environment has completely changed because the university come in there.
And so, the freedom of speech.
When we talk of freedom of speech, that is one of the things that we voted for that made us to talk of 1993. But we cannot compare it to what we have now. If you look at the time of Buhari, if you look at the time of Obasanjo, we have the same thing. When Buhari came on board, also during his own, I can only say between the time of Jonathan, Yaradua Jonathan, we have freedom of speech where you can talk and nobody will embarrass you. You remember a young boy who talked about Buhari's wife they picked the guy in the campus because he is speaking something different. When what is his name now? This musician want to organize a protest. I think they have to go and meet the mother, arrest the mother to tell your son you have to stop. What is his name now? Two-Face. Well, so we cannot say the freedom of speech. Though Jonathan tried his best to say freedom of information, freedom of speech, but even the government is not open to people to be able to get some of the information we needed. We can clap for our leaders that, oh, they are doing this project. I said it in one forum. I said, somebody is doing a road project. You may clap for the person. Have you been able to peruse how much was used for that road? How much exactly supposed to be used for that road before we start clapping? If somebody is doing a road of 1 billion for 20 billion, you cannot call it development because what is being ripped off is much more. So as much as we will not say God has not helped us as a nation, that we are still together, it is just the grace of God. But when we look at what we desire then, 1993, we are yet to see it. Yeah. I can tell you for free that military did 4 refineries. Democracy have not been able to do 1 single refinery apart from Dangote refinery. So when you that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you say privately owned, if the environment is not given for a private person, like I've said about modular refinery, if the environment is conducive for people to come on board, it will reduce monopoly of any person because modular refinery, local illegal refinery, I've advised the federal government, the people you call illegal refinery, let's bring them together. Instead of busting and scattering the place, let's bring them together and educate them. Let the government be involved, let the community be involved, let Navy be involved, DSS involved, and let the people, petrochemical engineers, let them come and fine-tune it. People are using the fuel you are talking of, local refinery. Are people not using it? Are they not using the diesel? Does this spoil their vehicle? But the one NNPC imported the other day destroy a lot of cars and destroy a lot of engine. At the end of the day, it was during Buhari. At the end of the day, they still pay. Federal government still pay those who imported that adulterated fuel. So to people like us who contributed, who also championed for the exit of the military, we are not yet satisfied. And I think that option A4 that was introduced by Babangida at that time really even worked more than the technology we are talking about, because in the sense that one does not the money we vote for INEC was not there. It was FEDECO then. The money voted was not there. This money we vote to they only recruit adult staff and people come on board. You see teachers and all the rest of them with excitement because we want to be out of the military rule. But I can tell you for free today, Tomiland Bridge was done by military. Buhari did that.
You seem to suggest that the military rule gave more benefits to Nigerians.
Yeah, definitely. It's only that the issue of killing, that under the military you cannot talk. You remember the death of Afra Rewan. And painful today. Those who fought against us when we are talking of democracy today have enjoyed the democracy more than we who fought.
Okay.
Somebody in this state was a governor who fought against, who was part of the annulment
Okay,
of
but
Ojukwu.
irrespective of that, does that make the military rule a shining example?
To me, I feel that the democracy must learn from what the military did. If we talk about military, I went to meet late Onyaru Bulem to do what is it called, a teacher's house.
Okay.
All of us know what was happening in teacher's house there. So to me, I think that if you say something is not good, it's not totally bad.
Okay.
The military is not bad, and I think that the democracy must learn something because
yes,
decree and edit was what is
we have
used.
come to democracy to stay.
Yes.
And if we must leave democracy, it must be something that has to do with passionately the people's kind of government, and it's still going to be democracy. Because if you look at the military role, it's an opposite of what the people want, and we must enshrine, irrespective of the fact that they came with some examples that seem to suggest that they thrived in some sector, like what you said concerning the refinery. You know, that again is not a yardstick for us to celebrate that.
What I mean is that despite the military you are talking about, that you may say they are not good, they are not this. Are they not the one that conducted the 1993 election?
So there are some things to take away.
So many things to take
lessons.
Yes, I can mention infrastructures that are done in this country.
Right.
It was done during the military because it is decree and edit. It is not this one. It's just that we go to this one, we voted money here and there. I think that what we need to do is that the people in democracy must learn from what I talk about. The 1993 election, it was two-party. If you are not here, you are either there or you are not participating. But the joy of us participating then was at the peak because we want to be out of military because of the kind of assassination. You cannot talk. Remember the decree in the days of Buhari that even journalists are being put in prison, and everybody is afraid because you cannot say this is how to go about it. That is why all of us agitated. And as I'm saying here, I'm not saying we should clap for the military, but what I'm saying is that even when you say somebody is lessons to learn, that we can build on that. In the days of military, people gave local government and state because of their girlfriend. They didn't give it because of so I tell you, look at the example of Taraba. Now look at the example of Taraba. Look, there are local government today that it is a girlfriend take away birthday something. So what we are talking about is that they did some things that are not good that make people like us to go to the streets. Then
let's go to our legal expert, Matthew Edaghese. We look at the shortfalls we've been having. 1993 presidential election being a watershed, and of course, after 33 years, assessing what the performance is like. We understand that for democracy to thrive, there should be stricto sensu, the enforcement of the rule of law. And in the rule of law, also enshrined by Edaghese, also suggests that there is no one is above the law, equality before the law. And again, this guides against corruption. Now, what is your perception, most especially even if we look at the electoral processes and, of course, litigations that have followed, you know, from 1993 till date? There seems to be more litigations even as democracy seems to progress in age. What do you see as factors responsible for this, and how do we tackle this headlong, most especially looking at equality before the law, above the law, no one being above the law, and how to make sure that the government is strictly, you know, protecting the tenets of democracy?
Democracy is anchored on the foundation of the rule of law, like you rightly observed. But the rule of law will not impose and operate itself. It has to be operated by human persons. Enforcement of the law is done by human persons, not robots. And if the human persons are corrupt and compromised, the rule of law will be a victim of manipulation. The reality of our situation as a country is that corruption has become official. And once corruption is official, it becomes a policy in disguise. It becomes a policy. How on earth will you now say you are fighting corruption when corruption itself is official? That is the predicament we have become, that have become our lot as a people. The tenets of democracy, rule of law, freedom of choice, and all of that has been greatly compromised and sabotaged by the system operators. Today we're talking about vote buying, INEC not being unbiased, being compromised and all of that. How will democracy thrive when the very institutions that are supposed to uphold the principle of democracy are doing the opposite? So this is the predicament. We cannot be talking of democracy when there is no rule of law. We can't be talking of democracy when vote buying has become a norm. We can't be talking of democracy when INEC is not able to live above board as an umpire. There is evidence of partisanship. Just a few days ago, we're hearing of Emeka Ike's confidential information being accessed by private citizens, who in turn expose it to the public with impunity. So a lot of problems. And unless the human persons who operate the system chose to do the right thing by not sabotaging the very foundation of rule of law which democracy is built, we are not going to make any appreciable progress. That is just it.
Very much for that contribution. But again, let's look at the role of the judiciary in protecting rule of law, because we can't talk about the efficiency of rule of law without the support of the judiciary. Some have said that the judiciary seems to have compromised their position in making sure that this gap is closed, because the rule of law basically should be enforced and by government, and of course the judiciary is also there to support it. What becomes the role of the judiciary in this case?
When a nation is faced with a fundamental problem of system collapse and system compromise, we are talking about institutional failure. And judiciary is an institution. It's an organ of government. It cannot operate in isolation. If the system is collapsing, every institution is affected. The judiciary cannot live as an oasis in an ocean of rottenness. We cannot be talking of judiciary isolation. We have to be inclusive in our evaluation of the situation. Judiciary is an organ of government, just like the parliament, the legislature, and the executive. If the system is working, every organ of government will work. If it is failing, then there is a problem. The judiciary we have today cannot be said to be the same judiciary we have in the early 60s. The independent judiciary is dependent on the absence of interference of the other organs of government. When the executive now becomes the overlord, dictating to the judiciary what to say and what not to say, the judgment to give and the one not to give, then we have a problem, especially issues that have to do with politically exposed persons. We have seen trial that has dragged on endlessly, involving corruption of high-profile political persons. As we speak, Yaya Bello is still walking free. There are many other indicted persons who are facing trial endlessly. There's no attempt to convict them. Even those who were initially convicted have been forgiven and pardoned. We're talking about people like Orji Uzor Kalu and all of that.
Because you've made mention of part of the question I wanted to ask, you put them together. But in the Nigerian situation today, we've seen a case where the executive seemed to be the overall board. The principle of separation of power that was propounded by Baron de Montesquieu, where all the three arms of government are separated in their things. But that, we've not seen that happen over time since 1999. I don't want to mention since 1993, but at least 1999 up to now, still I know what's happening already when it comes to democratic process. We've seen how the executive have bought over the other two arms of government, whether you want to call it the judiciary and the legislature. What can really be done in order for us to have democracy as it ought to be by those who propounded it in the first place? Because here in Nigeria, what we've seen over the years is the executive holding sway to the other two arms of government. From your own legal point of view, what do you think can really be done to really separate and sever these three arms of government to work separately, independently, in terms of checks and balances?
Well, so we sincerely apologize for the loss of audio in that. As soon as we're able to get connectivity, we will be joining Matthew to respond to that question. Well, let's go to you, Roy. A lot of challenges we've been faced with, despite the fact that we've had gains, but there are still challenges. And how do we go ahead, most especially in our electoral processes? We've seen where situations that has to do with, credibility in elections seem to be lost. And again, that is affecting voters' turnout, bringing about voter apathy. What do you see going forward as a way of tackling this trend for the electorate, to be encouraged in coming out for the election cast, and most especially the responsibility that is the INEC as electoral umpire is saddled with in order to bring about credibility in the process?
In Nigeria, I'll continue to let people know it's an unusual place.
Why do you say that?
Here is an unusual place because while you are talking about the independent or judiciary, and it is one man that will single-handedly pick anybody to come and manage the INEC. If today Philip Omo is picked to come and manage INEC, his loyalty will go to the man who picked him, not to the generality of Nigeria.
You can't say that.
Yeah? The records are there. We tell with fast figure. And that is what happened in Nigeria. When somebody gives you an opportunity to serve, you all of a sudden you become very subservient to that person. And is that person you are loyal to? You are not.
It becomes a case of he that plays the piper.
It's
because we've had a bad precedence.
We are still the same page on it. How many times have you seen somebody tap his chest that I will tell you I'm in Nigeria, in this country? Yeah. I remember when this man would prefer to say, I will tell you I'm a Yoruba.
Exactly.
So how do we change the course?
How do we change that? If we have a leader who is determined, who believes that Nigeria need to work.
If we have a leader.
Yes, that is very determined.
You seem to believe that we do not have.
We have a leader. There's a caveat on it. If we have a leader, who believes and is determined that Nigeria need to work. We saw it in Jonathan. He said, this election we are going, don't keep for me, don't read for me. And any campaign you see Jonathan is telling you. We have seen another one where somebody said, go there, grab the thing, it and run away. These are two issues. Then you not ask yourself, until we have that man, and that's the reason why people want to make institutions to work. Nigeria here, we build strong men. We don't build strong institutions. And that's the reason why Nigeria, it's very hard for Nigeria to work. Until we allow.
Is it a failure of our constitution? Because the president seems to be the most powerful president.
Our constitution. Our constitution does not. That's the reason anytime I heard this, hey, we want to amend our constitution, I look at them and laugh. What we have in constitution, have we been able to follow it?
But we're looking at the powers, we're looking at the executive powers before the president. Don't you think that is again another challenge where, like Aaron said, don't you think that's another challenge where the president could also be influencing the other arms of government?
Did our constitution not separated the other arms of government from
that was on paper.
That is the point we are saying now.
But in terms of the powers given to the executive powers.
And that's the reason I said we don't need strong men. We need strong institutions. And until we have people at the time who just come and say, oh, Nigeria need to work. When you are coming as an early chairman, you are calling the president and say, why are you calling me? If you cannot perform, leave here. If you are the head of judiciary, you are calling and say, what are you calling me for?
Should the head of judiciary even call the executive? Because their functions are this.
That is the reason why I say Nigeria is an unusual place. The way among they have known, the way among they romance, is a clear indication that hope is not in sight. And that is my biggest disappointment in Nigeria. That it does not take anything. There are naturally by human beings, all human beings have the same character. Yeah. They have the ability to want to corner everything to themselves. It's natural, it's inherent in human being. Yeah. What separates you when the theory of society was formulated is the law. You know there are consequences for action. You don't want to dare it. Have we been able to censure a former president in this country? The answer is no. The best we have seen that we have seen a caricature arrangement of sanctioning the former governor. You know,
the last former governor said,
how do you reconcile these positions? And that's the reason why I continue to level. Our constitution, as far as concerned, is perfect. When we just say, we need that man to say, no, let us even implement when we have the constitution.
Are you saying the powers of the president isn't overriding the influence, as in overriding the functions of other organs?
There is no society in the world.
Do you see the powers of the Nigerian president as too enormous?
It's not even the power of the president according to the constitution. It's not something, it's just like there is a limit. There must be a limit to indulgence.
Absolutely.
You understand me? In an environment where there is no limit to indulgence, anything happen. They do anything. As a president, you are being given power to nominate or appoint an NH chairman. It's just a directive. NH chairman, I'm giving you this job not to rig the election for me.
Everything becomes at your discretion.
And it's something. Let people have authority to say no. It's just like you hire a driver. Okay, you are in your car, the motor, the car is moving. I want you to do an air collision, the driver is waiting for you to give instructions.
I want you to get this rightly. How do we stop this seemingly apron string attachment of the National Assembly to the executive president?
It's very easy. The only thing that can solve our Nigerian problem, the insecurity, the only thing that can just solve the Nigerian problem, if the leaders allow to choose, elect who lead us, everything, 98% of Nigerian people will be solved.
But we've been voting all this.
No, we have not been. The system does not give us opportunity to elect who we believe who can lead us. Yes, until the day Nigeria will get it in terms of voting pattern, that the electorate will just go to feed, elect their leader, they will not add another pepper, they will not add salt. It's just going naturally and come back. You see, Nigeria will be taking shape.
All right, Bishop, let me tie this now around 2027 that is around the corner. Do you foresee a different system per se? Because a lot of persons have, one or two persons I've had conversation will tell you, if I vote or if I do not vote, this guy is coming back again for a second term, take it or leave it. That is what a lot of persons have said. But should we purge our mind of, because you said we should learn, we should take from the gains of 1993 and even as it was then, a military organized election. Now this is democracy. The power now belongs to the people. Sovereignty, they say, belongs to the people. How can the people really prove that sovereignty indeed belongs to them according to the preamble of the Constitution? Because 2027 is just around us now. A lot of persons are already rejecting about the process, the system. What do we expect? Are we going to see something different, or is it going to be status quo remains?
In several fora, I have championed, because if you look at the 1983 election, I participated in 1983 election. If you remember the case of Ajasin, late Ajasin and late Omoburiwu, that set Ondo State on fire, where the people use raw egg to, women use raw egg to be burning houses. Agbayewa of blessed memory, and all the things that happened in Ondo State that time. Then you see party structure. Internal democracy is very important in democracy itself. The internal democracy, if we are going to, you see what you talk about now is mindset. We participated, all of us knew that Awolowo won the election that time, but the powers that be never want to declare Awolowo. All of us that participated in 1983. Yeah, it's not today. It's not today. It's not today. Awolowo won the election. All of us participated in 1983, won the election, but the powers that be, there are statements that Awolowo used to make when he goes on campaign. Awolowo used to mention people's name that he's going to send to jail. He will mention those who are in power. They have done this, they have done this, they have done this. When I come in, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Many people felt that this man is already announcing what he's going to do. So some of the people who benefited from those who are seated in power decided to know that when this man goes to jail, by the time they are doing auditing, it is definitely going to affect me. That is why you see that they have to involve judiciary on the announcement of that election. Now, what we're saying about, there's something about mindset. The mindset is that, 2027, the President Tinubu has already, if I vote, I don't vote. It's a mindset of people. Because if you want to effect a change in a place, and you want to say you are part of it, you see some of the people you see that are championing on social media and all that, ask them, where is your PVC? You don't have. That is the first thing. Yeah. And the man is a citizen. I said, until we make the issue of PVC to be like you cannot open an account without PVC if you are 18. When such thing comes on board, you see Nigeria will be involved. And the issue of sitting down, my father said, you don't go to market. Your wife didn't go. Your children didn't go. You say market not full. If you go market, not be +1, not be the population, or your wife went there. So when you already fold your hand and you say you are a people, and democracy is about the people. Now, okay, let me also tell you, how do we advance in our democracy now? Those who are not happy with APC, they have gone to another party now. They have done their own. You can see cry everywhere. Is this still Tinubu that went there in their own party to help them do the Osigabuyaya? You can see somebody, I told you on this same forum here, those who are saying the man they scatter everywhere because you want to come 2027. You are in a party where you cannot follow your own constitution of north and south, and you have problem and people are leaving to another place. You say Tinubu is the one causing the problem, and that's why the problem will remain. Either they like it or not. You can see from the perspective of registration of party members. You can see from the way those who said they want to protest, Protestants now, the way they are doing their own party. We are somebody's a national party is being run in the parlor of one man, and the man decide to write who comes in. And you see people who said they don't like APC now, they've gone to another place and they are shouting there. When somebody marry a man, marry a husband, he say no good. He marry second husband, he say no good. He marry third husband, you'll be able to say that the woman no good. Even in the Bible, when a woman marry 5 husbands and cannot stay again, Jesus have to attend to that woman in the book of John chapter 4 and say, Madam, you have lived 5 marriages and you say you don't have husband. Even the one you are with now, you are just a madam in one corner. So do you blame those men who married that woman for 5 times? Are they born by the same parents? Are they in the same community? Do they have the same character? What I feel is that this election, some people sit down and say it has already been done and won. And their input will have made a difference. Who will ever believe that Labour Party will have a senator in the Edo South? But because people decide to say, let us effect a change, either it will work or it will not work. Do you know the reason why 1999 brought all crops of politicians? Because the good people didn't believe that military will hand over. So they say, I don't have money to do this. Let me say, that's why you see the crook, those who can shook head into it, shook head that time, say, either I waste my money or I don't waste my money. Let me put it to that 99. That's why you see that 1999 election brought a lot of people who did not have country at heart. Okay. How do we effect the change? The change must start with the people. Somebody that didn't have PVC is already blaming INEC. He don't get PVC and it's above 18. He's blaming INEC now. He's blaming that they are going to say there's going to be a glitch. In banks, are there not glitches? Say you remember an Edo Indigi here, they transfer 150 million into his account. And the guy blow 50 million between 24 hours and he's in jail now. He said he prefer to go to jail instead of returning that money. And Edo citizen here. So the glitch is, are you telling me that the boss decided to send that money to his account because he's their junior brother? That is a technological glitch. It happens everywhere. Are you getting what I'm saying now? When Donald Trump was campaigning, some people, the powers that be, didn't want him. They said assassin. That is almighty America. So let us not go out of proportion and say our country is not good. I believe in this country. That's why I refuse to be a citizen of other nations. Because I've been on it and I've been voting and I've not lost my faith in Nigeria that Nigeria can work. If only those who are talking can have their PVC. It's not, and on election. Yes, and the second thing is that on the election day, where will you be?
I will be here.
Some people now will be looking at DSTV on election day. Say, don't worry, my brother. They have already. When you give your territory to somebody, it's easy to take over. But I can tell you, the 2027, where are the people that want to confront Tinubu?
Okay, thank you.
Where is the strategy they are put in place? Is it the people that did the small election now and they are almost going to shrine to go and sue somebody to shrine?
How we tackle this aspect of insecurity. Because the first responsibility of the government is to protect its citizens. And if that is failing, then big questions will be asked. I don't know if we can still join you, Matthew Edarese. We asked you a question earlier on separations of powers and how we can make that work. And if you can also add up the insecurity we're having, most especially comparatively with that of the present administration. How do we tackle this headlong going forward? Are you still with us, Matthew Edarese? Okay, Roy, I think you should just handle that question, most especially this aspect of insecurity. Some are saying that it seems the president is just paying attention more on the 2027 rather than the lives of the citizenry.
Well, depend on where you find yourself, you know, depend on what you choose to believe and what you choose to see, you know. That is where we find ourselves.
We look at what is happening, observations.
Yes, the insecurity is really overwhelming. That is the truth.
But there have been a release of about 360 abductees. I don't know if you want to see that as a credit to the administration.
No, it's a welcome development. It's a welcome development. You know, Nigeria is an unusual place. There have not been record that such persons was kidnapped in that issue. You know, with what I've seen, with what I've heard about Nigeria, I have every reason to make a conclusion that Nigeria is an unusual place. You know,
but this set of persons were kidnapped March 4th.
I said
over 400.
We are aware now. I am not omnipresent. That's why I be the voice of the common. If I was in that environment, I have records that such numbers of persons were kidnapped in that issue. They have been released. I will celebrate the president. I will celebrate the security. But I was not aware.
You were not aware of that?
I was not aware of that. The one I'm aware of is Oyo.
It's Oyo.
Okay.
Are
you saying that probably there could have been some game over that?
No, I don't want to go into detail because as he said just now, you know, we must not discourage Nigeria because God has given us an opportunity to use a platform. Over millions of persons across the globe might be watching this program. We are not here to discourage people. We are here to encourage them. And that is the reason why at times I told people the book of lamentation was not written because of Nigeria. And we can't continue to lament. It's very painful. It's painful. Even me, I don't know those persons, but I know the pain, what it takes.
Absolutely.
That your children will just live with the money going to school.
They don't come.
And you go there and prepare food for them that this is what we eat. And you are looking at the food, the children are not back. Wow. No, it's demoralizing. It's frustrating. You know, and these are the issues we say, what are really the issue? If you look at the other woman from Ibadan, the sister to the Adelabu's sister.
That was a quick victory.
Exactly.
Yes,
a quick rescue.
A quick rescue. When I saw it, I said yes.
Just within 5 days.
There is hope in this country. We are able to rescue this person. I say it's good, but the Nigeria is one of us also an issue.
Exactly.
That of recent, I think in the sister station yesterday, I was told that a 66-year grandmother faked her own kidnapping. In this town.
Yeah.
Where he was calling people to come and rescue her. The daughter was far away now, but was soliciting for fun.
Kidnap became infectious, most especially because of the economic hardship.
Then when you look at that kind of arrangement, 66-year-old mother. 66. A grandmother. Then you now look at the position of Nigerian government. I just said, why will I continue to bring Buhari, Tinubu on this? Why will I, if a 66-year-old man can be convinced that the only way to make money now is to kidnap herself.
Probably that 66-year-old woman or whatever must have been impoverished by the economy.
No! Is that a notion? Are you wanting brief for her?
No. We're looking at how to make the government make the economy better.
No, we were told
in order to disabuse the minds of Nigerians or citizens to take after crime.
We were told that woman belongs to a social organization. And that social organization were able to raise few millions for her.
Because she knows the capacity to.
The daughter is also in the faraway Canada. She was able to use structure. At that level, you cannot say the woman was
impoverished.
Yes, impoverished. She was suffering from lacking. That is the greed in all of us as in Nigeria. That's the reason why I said, are we going to, if that woman succeeds in that, we also bring Tinubu on that. That is the society we are. All of us need to really sit down. And I'll be advocating that we need to sit down.
But are you saying the government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been fantastic in tackling insecurity?
No, I cannot say I'll be fantastic. That adjective is too powerful to me.
Okay, appreciably. What can you call it in terms of the numbers in percentage?
No, in terms of managing security, the president have not been doing well. He's even aware. He recognized
below average.
Yeah, yes, below average. 1 to 10. If I'm to rate him, I'll give him 1.5.
1.5.
1.5
over 10.
Of course. 1.5 over 10.
Not even writing an exam at all.
That is what I'm telling you because the basic, the function, the reason why we have government. Where government was formulated, where we donated our sovereignty is to protect last support.
If you were to be the president, what would you do?
What I would be doing?
In tackling insecurity.
I will do something different.
Tell us.
What exactly?
One, I will not play politics, tribal politics. I will play sentimental politics. I will play religious politics. I will not appoint people in position because you are my tribe man. I will appoint people to go and manage my security because they are from my village. I will look for the best. You look for competency.
What do you do to the army tackling this issue of insecurity? Because some have said that if we want to tackle this headlong, it won't take more than 48 hours.
Did you know, you listen to the head of army, Boata, I think about 5 days ago, when he said it does not take army to track anybody down.
So what's happening? So what we have
now, you know, ask yourself, there are fundamental issues that happen within our security network. And I can bring some to Buhari. When you walk over there, he said this repeated, introduced a lexicon called repeated Boko Haram, repeated. Now they have been integrated into the system.
That's a wrong move.
It's a wrong move. And I expect by now the president should look at them on the face and say, no, where are those persons that we are now, under the Buhari, we are not going to drive them away, we will pursue them. Let's aggregate them again and pay them off. Because they are creating more problems. You saw how many generals have been killed.
Some were condemned recently anyway.
You saw a Nigeria, an Edo State general that was killed.
Yeah.
You know, just to go on his car, only for them to disconnect the battery head. The man could not move. The other man that was not there, who was calling his people, that this is where I am, come and rescue me. We were reading it on social media. They track that. How do they be able to do that? Because they have an insider. Okay. This is the time for we to purge. Without telling us, so let's purge ourselves. If we purge ourselves as a president, we'll get it right. Because once the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do?
Bishop, let me now come to you.
Thank you very much for delivering that.
To try to wrap up. Now, the June 12, 1993 presidential election, after everything that happened, we saw the shenanigans. But the person who annulled that election has come out recently when he published a book to take responsibility that he did it and everything. In your own opinion, what do you think should be done? Because that would have been an election that would have set Nigeria's path on the right trajectory, but it never happened. The person now is still alive, he's not dead yet. What do you think should be done by the incumbent administration to that individual?
Mr. President, like I want to disagree with my brother that security escalated under Tinubu because I'm a security expert. With
not that Tinubu. I said started on that book.
No, I want to compare. When you compare Tinubu's government to that of Buhari,
let's not do comparison.
No, what I'm talking. No, you compare. See, you have to compare. When you are talking of security, you are talking about. You talk about this man. It used to be 1,000 person, and somebody come and reduce it to 5. That's why it is life. As we are talking in America, they are still killing people in schools. Okay. Are you telling me that America does not have what it takes? They have the drone. It is a minimum.
Because I want to have some figures by Amnesty International to give.
Yes, I want to tell you, leave Amnesty International with what they are doing.
If you compare that of Buhari to Tinubu, I want to learn.
I want to tell
they are both on the same page.
I want to tell you that despite that both of them are on the same party, you will look that the escalation of security issues is coming up because of election.
In less than 2 years, we've had over 10,000 killed.
Sir, that is wrong. That is, I'm telling you with details, fact, and figure and location. So it is Buhari that it is Tinubu that come in that make our Tucano to be active.
Buhari in his 8 years had about over 60,000 killed.
In the
so if we go on that trajectory,
no, sir.
So the Bola Ahmed Tinubu could exceed that of the Buhari.
You cannot even
of the
sir. You cannot compare the death during Buhari to that of Tinubu, and that is one of the reasons.
Don't forget the president has not done up to 8 years. Just
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the 4 years of Ambode in Lagos swallowed the 8 years of Fashola. You don't need to die there. It is a matter of how you take off and you are handling things. So what I'm saying is that talking about insecurity, what you are seeing now. Now, when we talk of insecurity, we talk about governors of each state being given security votes. And the security vote under Tinubu is far times 3 than that of Buhari. Not to talk of fact. I'm not talking of fact now. I'm talking of security vote. Or that we are talking about now, you have over 1 billion per month.
You seem to suggest misused priority has been approved by the president.
No,
that brings to question the aspect of corruption in the sense that why should the president do such a disburse without monitoring that? Because again, there are questions about how we can make these security votes become accountable.
Do you know that there is no receipt for security votes?
Exactly why.
Now the question is that
it should be budgeted for.
The question
is to bring to the account, to the table, heads of national governments and heads.
It is
give accounts of how they spent it.
If we are talking now, we are talking of solution. You are talking as if it is Tinubu that designed that security vote should be given to governors.
You made mention of the security vote. Yes,
that's what I'm telling you. Because when you see,
approved times 3,
when you to deal with what is on ground, the question I'm talking about is that the man did it so that the sub-government can look down. Now there are things that Governor Okpebholo must handle now in Uromi and all other places in the Edo State that you cannot call Mr. President. Even NSA cannot be the one to focus on that ground. The reason why it is given to governor is that they are close to the people and they know how to fix their people.
But are they doing that? Are they doing that?
That is the area.
Someone again also said that these are disbursements ahead of 2027 to make sure that the governors work in tandem for the president to come back in second term and not necessarily for the people.
The question I will ask you is that Seyi Makinde is going to work for Tinubu to come 2027. I want you to answer that question. Is Seyi Makinde that is being his own? I'm asking you.
That's just a number out of the lot.
You are talking.
That's a number out of the lot.
The fact that is being increased for all the governor for them to do well to their people, is he also being given because they wanted to mop the money for election? Do you know that to mop money for election, you don't need to do all those ones you are talking about?
Okay, how do we make the sub-national governors? How do we make them accountable to these security votes? Because it seems to me that these are just free money.
That I said it in a sister session 2 days ago.
And a president that is concerned about the welfare of the citizenry should have known that if these are free monies and you made them times 3 disbursed to the governors, then it won't trickle down to the people. So it seems like an attempt.
It's not
for the welfare of the people.
No, you can't say that. To empower a sitting governor to be able to
capture the governors for 2027.
No, I disagree with you, because when you give a governor some amount of money, security vote, he will be able to monitor his people. He will be able to get gadgets. He will be able, apart from what I'm saying is that apart from police and other things, that as a sitting governor, you must have your team on every community. That is one of the things that the security vote is meant for. You have your own team. Who are your intelligence officers on ground? They are not uniform officers.
You also see the government, the state at the state level, who also tell you that the police is the federal police, not the state police.
But why don't they return the security vote to federal government? That's somebody cannot tell me, a governor cannot tell me that I can't command the commissioner of police when I'm giving billion to secure my people. Without the commissioner of police, the governor of this state can secure the environment if he's designed to use.
Roy will participate in this. There's a good, but before Roy jumps on it, there's a big question. How do we make governors of the 36 states accountable to the security votes?
I said it in another forum 2 days ago that this security vote, because you see deniers of governors saying, I cannot send commissioner of police to do anything. I cannot do that one. I cannot do that. Now, having your own state police, not state police in quotes, is also part of what you can use the security vote to fund.
Like this is security call.
Yes, you can fund them from your security vote. You can empower them in their gadgets. You can give intelligence. Now you see, in those days, in the days of Gowon,
how do we make them accountable?
What I'm saying is that we will set. It is federal government that will set through the National Assembly set a committee that is made up of security experts who are independent minded. And people from the masses. It must not be only security experts alone. The masses must participate in people that monitor the disbursement and the expenditure of governors. And governors should not talk about, I am not in charge.
So it should carry an instrument of the law, because the way it is now, it has no instrument of the law.
If you don't put it in that way, to go through the National Assembly, it will be something that will not stand. Okay. I give you an example in the days of Jonathan. Jonathan said we cannot be spending money. Today, the man who says he's hungry is the chairman of Governors Forum, who who took them to Supreme Court and waste the money?
That's much we can take. Thank you. Well, just 10 seconds for you to round off on that.
No, it's comparison. You know, it's a reminiscence of two dwarfs comparing themselves. You know, who is taller. That is what he's trying to do.
More like the court. You have less than 10 seconds.
The issues are very direct. The governors, I'm not holding brief for them, but it's also good for me to know. Security vote, when that idea was conceived, is strictly for stomach infrastructure.
Yeah, it came with IBB's government.
Yeah, it's stomach, so that people come around government house, your friends and others, you can take a bottle of wine, you can. That was what. It's just to give that name security.
So going forward, you should have an instrument of the law.
Of course, how do you even make a governor to be the #1 security man of the state when he cannot even, a general who cannot even take instruction from him?
All right, big thanks.
The head of Malo cannot even take instruction from him.
Big thanks.
No, these are some of the blackmail that happened to him. Finally, let me also tell you that some of them who are supporting the president now, it's good to tell him the truth. So that when you are telling the truth and the man is coming out to take responsibility, some of us who have not made up our mind where we are going, we are seeing what we go, this man is saying the truth.
Okay, thank you very much. Right is the convener of the Forum. Big thanks, Bishop Austin Igbasa, Senior Pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church. And big thanks to you, Matthew Edarese, Esquire, for taking our time to be part of this. Well, we now join Joseph Kaduri of our Abuja studio for the conversation from that axis.
All right, a very beautiful discussion there, I must say. All right, now we'll be taking a look at the outcome of the various primary election across all political parties, with many of them, of course, expressing dissatisfaction with the outcome of the primary election. For example, in the APC, about 50% of the members are complaining. We've seen that over 40 members of the House of Reps, with the APC, did not get return ticket. Some of these issues will be discussed through the eyes of two gentlemen who are politicians. I have the national chairman of the National Rescue Party, Dr. Chinedu Obi, as well as a member of the ADC Chieftain, Engineer Chinedum Elekwashi. And this discussion will be done virtually through the Zoom application. A very good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, so let's just start off by way of getting your opening remarks concerning the outcome of the various primary election. Many who did not get a return ticket are aggrieved. Some parties have set up internal mechanism to resolve the differences. I know the PDP has done that and is ongoing. Of course, the APC, which is the party at the helm of affairs, has also had its own discussion with those who did not get a return ticket, or those who want to come for the first time but are unable to scale through. So let's get your opening remarks.
Okay, generally, you know that politics is a struggle for the control of power. It's always meshed in interests. Usually when you have those interests, particularly when they are contending, there's always going to be winners and losers. The natural thing is that when persons lose, only very few times that you find very good losers who lose and go to sleep. You also have situations where you have, even if all the processes are good, you have very bad losers who always want to complain. But generally speaking, I think that the primaries this time around is actually a product of the orchestration of the National Assembly. What do I mean by that? The 10th National Assembly in the 2026 Electoral Act decided to cause chaos, decided to cause confusion around political parties. I am glad that in your opening remarks that you have said that most of them are complaining, which means that they have also now become victims of their own exercise. When most of them were busy laying landmines on the 2026 Electoral Act, they obviously didn't know that they could be the first victims of what they orchestrated. Now, for the first time, they made the primaries for political parties very chaotic, giving parties, begin to do legislation for parties' operation. What should ideally be the constitutional role of the party to have its own internal ways of dealing with its own things. The National Assembly went above board to begin to dictate for them how they determine who their candidates would be by giving them just two straight opposites, direct primary and indirect, direct primary and consensus. Of course, you know the implication of having a direct primary means you're going to run a general election within the party, which of course, logistics-wise, is almost impossible. The other is consensus, which you know, if you follow my opening remarks, that it's difficult to achieve consensus when interest is bound. Now, with this background, you find this kind of complaints you have all over the places because even when those processes were, if you like, as open as it should be, because of the interest that is emerged, people will definitely complain. So I think that what you have just seen now is what the National Assembly expected, to divide the opposition, to make sure the opposition is not prepared to go into the 2027 election. That's actually what has played out.
That has happened, but you know it has implication, and that is the crux of this discussion. What are the likely implications, you know, come 2027?
Well, the first implication, like I posted earlier on, is to cause chaos within the parties, make sure that you have disorganized opposition, make sure that persons, because of course, when people feel angry, one of the first things they do is that they decamp to other political parties. They go to court. They do all sort of things that would put the parties in tension and not build that consensus, not build that harmony we expect to prepare an opposition party to go into an election. So that's the immediate consequence. The parties are now, if you like, distressed. You know, there are lots of confusion. People who feel that the process didn't give them what they expected are causing disharmony within the parties. Today, many have gone to court, even though the parties have also set up internal mechanisms to deal with this, which is the appeals committee. Even when some of those appeal committees are also well done, those interests that would have been managed if there were other ways of doing this didn't really happen. And of course, it's creating the confusion that you find now. So the implication on the 2027 election is that if it's not properly managed, it's going to affect the opposition participation in this election. But our hope is that we thank God that we have ample time to see how this can be managed ahead of the 2027 election.
Okay, if you take a look at the APC, you discover that some of its members have jetted out of the party. Some have joined the ADC and NDC. Some, for now, they are still scouting for the party to join. Well, for those that may remain in the APC but disgruntled, don't you think it will lead to some kind of anti-party, you know, even while they're still in the APC?
Or if you listen to me in one of the periods I came here, I told you that with time you will see bigger implosion in the APC in particular, because if you notice how long it's taken even the APC to release the list of their candidates, will show you the level of the dissatisfaction within members, within the ranks in that party. Now, what you expect to see is that people either move to other parties as they are doing now, or that they say and work from inside. If you notice in 2015, it was actually the PDP elements inside the PDP that actually caused the defeat of the PDP. So history has a way of repeating itself. When you use your powers to cause some level of impunity, the natural human being has a way of responding to it. Some will pretend, some will get angry, some will leave, some will say, okay, let's work it out here. It's everything you plant will be a product of what you harvest.
You just suppose what happened recently with the development in other climes where they also practice democracy. Why is it difficult for that of Nigeria to have a smooth sailing process where the outcome will be, to an extent acceptable by all. Why do we continue to have a process that is not free, fair, and credible?
The First Republic started, if you like, on a very shaky note. If you recall, the Babangida administration started a transition that many times after politicians are ready, it will be annulled. So when the Fourth Republic came in, General Abdul Salam announced his timetable. Most Nigerians did not believe in it. The core Democrats probably thought that, okay, this could be another failed transition. So the few, the risk takers, the persons that entered that process, persons with like they know the dear Democrats, and they hijacked the system. And since the Fourth Republic, it's been impunity all the way. The real principles and tenets of democracy have not really been practiced. It's a case of might is right. It's a case of the winner takes it all. It's a case of command chain where the principle of democracy is not really allowed. It's a case of this power grab, godfatherism, all sorts of tendencies that are anti-democratic. So that has always played out over time. So our hope is that as our democracy begins to mature and as people react to poor governance, we may come up to a point where we elect people who are real Democrats, who believe in the principle of rule of law, who believes in the principle of democracy, who understand that democracy is about the people, not just about a few. Until that happens, we'll continue to, as an evolving democracy, we'll continue to go on to such a time we weed the bad ones of the system and get people who believe, who are first patriots, who believe in Nigeria. Because today, if you like, ethnic jingoists who are interested in where they come, either their religion or their ethnicity, you have not had those nationalistic patriots who believe in forming a country where every Nigerian will feel part of. Until that happens, the unfortunate situation of the background and the foundation we laid in the Fourth Republic. But I'm hopeful that in the face of all this, when you have bad governance and it bites you, there's this tendency to fight back. So I think we're going to get in Nigeria when Nigerians will now begin to define the kind of politics they want. And I thank God with all the effort to ensure that we didn't have strong opposition, many opposition parties are now springing up, and we may have options available to Nigerians.
Let's quickly look at the powers of the regulator. I'm talking about the INEC. In most of these primary elections, they were there, they monitored, and they also saw some of the countings from 3 to 12, from 12 to 90, from 90 to 1,000 plus. And the results were presented and they okayed it. So how do you describe the powers of the electoral umpire vis-a-vis entrenching internal democracy?
Part of what we tried to do in the Inter-Party Advisory Council, which is the umbrella body of all regional political parties, ahead of the 2026 Electoral Act, was to make constitutional recommendations that will make INEC truly independent. Part of it is to encourage the utilization of Ruiz committee report that says take away the appointment of INEC umpire, the umpire, from the executive to, if you like, a committee, a stakeholder-based committee made up of the judiciary, possibly the political parties themselves, the civil society group, so that you can have an umpire that's truly independent. But since that didn't happen, there's a general saying that he who plays the papa dictates the tone. I don't expect if Chelsea and Arsenal are playing a match and Chelsea should recommend the referee, I don't expect a fair play to happen. So the issue of INEC today is that INEC, even though it's supposed to be an independent National Electoral Commission, being appointed by the executive, clinches its hands because you can't work against the interests of the one who appoints you. It's only maybe in heaven that you can have that kind of situation, happen. If someone had given you the comfort of appointing you, I'm not sure you'd be so ungrateful to make policies that will affect the person. So the scenario you painted, I thought that part of the reason why INEC required us to send digital register of our members is, and the Electoral Act saying only those who are in that register should vote or be voted for, is for issues of regulatory action. It is to enable the umpire know who will vote and who will be voted for. Those keeping you fine is a core case of failure in a umpire regulatory function, because ideally they should have done an accreditation of who should vote, who should not vote, and then know the number of persons voting, so that when you do that skipping, we'd have been able to have a lot of those primaries that we saw on the social media, if you like, counseled, because if that is actually the outcome, means that it didn't conform with the expectation of the Electoral Act.
Okay, but as a way of addressing some of the gaps we saw with the last primary elections, of course, those are very unpleasant, situations to the eyes, where the numbers are, geometric in nature and not arithmetic. It really did not showcase that Nigeria is, at the point of getting it right. But if technology is deployed going forward, do you think that this kind of situation will be averted?
Absolutely. Technology is one of the best. There's no foolproof system all over the world, but technology seems to take away the discretion of humans. If we deploy, my party, the National Rescue Movement, believes in total deployment of ICT and technology in all the processes, starting from registration, accreditation, and even voting and collation. Because if you notice, all this rigging you talk about is basically at the point of collation, where human elements will play out. But if we have done a biometric system, there are no two human beings in the world that have the same biometric system. From registration, accreditation, voting, and collation, nobody will rig election. And even if you do, it will be minimal. Yes, because today there could be hacking, there could be all sorts of things. But there are some credible institutions that you can get involved and it won't be hacked. Otherwise, look at the banks. Why would the banks not losing money every day? It's because they operate a digital system that has some level some fireworks and that have some, some sort of security components. So we can deploy ICT in our elections, and that would take us away from all these issues that we'll talk about.
Okay, so now let's look at the National Rescue Party. Of course, your party. Tell us about its hope, for the forthcoming general elections.
Yeah, I'm sure you monitored our presidential primaries in Abuja, where we were the first party to elect a woman as a candidate for the 2027 election. We've elected a woman who is young, vibrant, capable, has done 12 businesses as an individual from the scratch, and they have grown. And what she told us when she joined the party is that she thinks Nigeria can be run like a business, where every part of Nigeria contributes to the whole. And she presented a picture of somebody who understands the issues of how we take away Nigeria from the poor situation we have security-wise, take us away from this poor economy that person's salary can no longer even take them home, ensure that our children can go to a good school and not be kidnapped as we have them today. We ensure that our healthcare system is very good. So our party is prepared. We have elected a very credible Nigerian, Dr. Esther Okereke, who is flying the flag of our party. And we're hopeful that Nigerians can now have an alternative with the National Rescue Movement. And of course, like I told you the last time I was here, the National Rescue Movement is the only party designed to rescue Nigeria. Others who claim that they want to rescue Nigeria in word, but ours, not only in our ideology, not only in our manifesto, in our name, in 2017 was formed. We haven't realized the gap in our system, gap of poor leadership, which is central, because NRM is promoting a system where government will be based on rule of law, processes and procedure, so that you can have a peaceful society that can be productive, and then you have what we call shared prosperity, because ours is a social Justice political party. So the National Rescue Movement is more than ever ready to take advantage of the poor governance situation in Nigeria to provide the alternative Nigerians do require.
Okay, we have seen in some elections ago where we have a female, you know, as the presidential candidate, talking about the COA party, but sadly, even women did not even vote for her. So what informed your decision to have a female candidate, knowing fully well that it is difficult to sell a female candidate?
Well, because something failed yesterday does not mean it's going to fail today. So the experience of COA is different. Our own experience is different. If you notice, there's an ongoing bill in the House of at the National Assembly today talking about new special seats for women, because Nigerians are now beginning to realize that you cannot have a society where you have almost 50% of the society women and you don't carry them along. Women are mothers. Women have empathy. As mothers, you know how it is when your mother feels when you're hungry. Nigerian women will not want to see their country in the way it is today. So we have people who are resourceful. Of course, you know women are very resourceful. Give a woman 1,000 naira, what she's going to do with it will feed the family. Unlike even when you give it to the men. The women they have empathy, they have emotions. They cannot stand to see their children starve. They cannot stand to see their children in IDP camps. So we've got a point in Nigeria where we need to carry power and give to women so that we can try them to take us away from the woes we have find ourselves. They've demonstrated it. In Nigeria today, we have women that are being celebrated. The Okonjo-Iweala, the Amina, both of them have shown capacity not only in Nigeria, even globally. So let's try our women, and I'm sure they can take us away from this way.
Mr. Chinedu, you know that when it comes to the issue of elections, even the National Assembly has made it clear that for every position that is in, there is an amount of money that the party or the candidate should have. If I'm not wrong, I think for the presidential candidate, the party or the candidate should be able to set aside about 5 billion naira. So you mean, Esther, your candidate will be able to go around the 774 local government areas, 36 states of the Federation plus the FCT to canvass for votes with a specified amount of money kept somewhere?
Well, you understand that, yes, money is very important. The Electoral Act requires us to spend about 10 billion. Even when she probably will not have the 10 billion, there's something called crowdfunding. There are persons who believe in her vision that are already talking to us, women organizations, civil society groups, all sorts of persons are already talking to us to say we'll be interested in making sure we drive this woman to show her vision, because the documents she presented an ESTA agenda. The ESTA agenda deals with all the issues around Nigeria. And those who are listening to her said, we will fund her to support her to achieve this goal. So we don't expect her to have the money alone. The party, the friends of the party, Nigerians who genuinely require a change in our country are willing to support her to achieve the goal. So I also think that the area where we emphasize the issue of money in our politics, because what do you need the money for? Is it not to go around? If all of us resolve today that, look, don't come to us, we believe you're the one to do this for us, we can all vote for her on the election day. So we need to, as much as possible, de-emphasize that money, even though we know that, yes, it requires a lot of logistics. And of course, like I've said to you, we're going to do crowdfunding. There's going to be all supports coming from every Nigerian who believe in the real change for the country to drive her to the pillar.
Well, I must thank you, Dr. Chinedu Obi, the National Chairman of the National Rescue Party, for your time with us on the program this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our viewers.
All right, so we now move to Lagos studio for continuation of the program this morning on ITV.
Many thanks for rejoining our Lagos Network studio this beautiful morning on CMI. I am Reselina Unkwo.